All right, everybody, welcome to the I Disagree podcast. You know, I can honestly say the reason why we've named it I Disagree is because it's two words I believe that have not only changed my life, but we all wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't say I disagree. So here's basically what we stand for. In the past 3 years, there has been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. Here we go. You guys ready for the first one? Hey, and welcome, everybody. We are live. Nice to see you guys again, our wonderful co-hosts, Dana and Travis, and everybody. And thank you guys for all watching out there. Welcome to our I Disagree podcast. We're excited to bring a very different podcast. We're on episode... Wait, that's right. We don't know yet. So that's a good plan, this one. No, but it's kind of nice to see you guys. We've had massive feedback. Thank you guys for all your comments. Now, you guys on live right now, please do me a favor. Leave a comment, discuss, and we talk about the topic. Let us know if you agree or disagree. And if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, to agree or disagree on, send it to us. I've actually written down about 50 of them so far already. They're very good. And if I do use your thing here, I will actually use your name and everything, so you can actually get the credit for it, but also it'll be discussed and talk about things. So we've been having a lot of fun here and stuff like that. So before we get started and introduce everything, I want to let everybody know who you guys are. So we're going to start from one side. One I want to know is who you are, married, single, what you do for a career, and something unique about yourself that nobody knows.
Okay, so my name
is... Nobody knows. I added that one this week.
Okay. So my name is Carrie Thiede. I'm married. Carrie. Been married for almost 20 years now to Brad. We have 3 children. I have been in education for 26 years in various teaching positions as well as curriculum development and other things. I currently work for Freedom Project Academy, which is based in Appleton. And unique things, different thing about me, I can write with my left foot.
Well, okay,
Dang.
I've never even seen that before.
Is that how you're gonna take notes?
Yeah, that's right.
I can't touch the floor right now, so I'm just gonna wing it.
Yes, and it's funny you said that, because if you ever see me writing down notes, I really like to keep notes on everybody and things like that. It's kind of cool because I like to keep stats and everything. So if you see me typing, I'm just writing something about you on there. So left foot.
Got it.
He also wants your credit card information, address.
Blood type.
Yeah.
That's right.
Later we'll get to that.
My name is Corey Tomczyk. I have been married for 40 years to my wife, Becky. I have 2 children, 3 grandchildren. I own a business that does document destruction, product destruction, and general recycling. That business has been in existence for 34 years. This past January, I was inaugurated as the state senator from the 29th district for the state of Wisconsin. I don't know what's unique about me.
There's always unique stuff about everybody.
My name's Travis Frisk. I am a co-host here. Thank you all for coming. It's a blessing to be here as always. I'm 42. I wear many hats here at the Wellness Way, and I love all of them, even though sometimes they all come at the same time. It just happens. I have the best wife in the world, Sarah Frisk. We've been married for 10 years, and I have the best boss in the world. Her name is Beth Bauer. She's amazing. And then
That's true. She's
another
amazing.
upper boss over here,
Nice.
but I'm very blessed to be in the position that I'm in. I have lots to say, and I look forward to today.
My name is Dana. I'm 34 years old. I have been married for 9 years. I have 2 boys that are 6 and 8. And I went to school actually to be an accountant. I was a CPA for 10 years. I did taxes for that whole amount of time. Yeah, I know, right? And then I decided that really wasn't for me. And given my passion for health, I decided to become a clinical nutritionist. So I do that now on top of also co-hosting this podcast. And I also make content that basically just supports alpha males called Dana Disagrees on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yes. How many views you got on your last video? What's it up to now?
I am like 75,000 away from 10 million views.
Just on one video.
On one video,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
My name is Kelton Thiel. I'm 19. I have an amazing girlfriend. I am currently in EMT and fire classes. I also run a fitness and nutrition account and do a program on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, just supporting natural fitness and nutrition.
What's it called? Plug
Done a
it.
great
Yeah,
job.
plug it.
Total
Remember,
plug it. I
total-
told him.
Yeah, Total Balance Training.
Nice. I always tell people, if you have a business, we have a huge audience, and I tell people, promote your business, promote your YouTube channels. We are I tell people I love success stories. I love capitalism and things like that. So I said, if you have a business, that promote it and stuff. So, and Lee.
I'm Jen. I'm single. I have 2 kids. I have a 3-year-old little boy and a 5-year-old little girl. I spent a lot of my career in public safety as a 911 emergency dispatcher and then logistics, but I'm lucky enough now that I am a mom most of the time. Well, I'm a mom all the time.
Yeah.
But professionally, I'm a writer and a content creator, and I do have a channel on TikTok as well where we mostly talk about mom life, spirituality, and that kind of thing. And that channel is Above Average Jen.
Nice.
Well,
you're going to fit in today because it's kind of cool. This podcast got started because I've been on media only for actually a pretty short time, considering that I built a massive company, and one you guys are in today, just by great clinical results and repeating something. But then my nephew came to us and said, "You want something? I want you to do some videos." And actually, I fought him for a long time and didn't want to do it at all, but then we did, and it exploded. And I recently just got banned from TikTok on Monday and stuff like that. Millions of people and stuff like that, but it's like they wiped that account out, but it's okay. I've been wiped out of YouTube, all things like that. Just talk about content creation. And one thing about myself is kind of neat. Obviously, I'm Dr. Patrick Flynn. I tell people, I didn't say this before, I'm very good at picking talent. Extremely good. That's why I've been able to start a company from one person and have hundreds and hundreds of employees. And like I said, and I will tell a story, no one knows this, but I said to Dana when we knew each other, but then she stood out from something that she was doing politically, actually. And then all of a sudden I said, Dana, you need a platform, you need a voice, and here's what's going to happen. And she believed me, but she didn't really believe me and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like, okay. And I'm like, here's what's happening. Here's videos. You're going to put this out because I knew what she was talking about that way. And that's why I'm kind of very proud of her just to have the 10 million almost views on just one video. Now, that's not all of it. It's just one video that way. And Travis was, once again, a very easy person to pick out as far as talent. I told him he was going to work here before he did and everything. I do that a lot.
I'm going to give you
go ahead.
your thunder. He told me it was December of 2020, and we were doing a Santa event when everything, the whole city was closed down, but we stayed open for the COVID for the kids, right? Santa. And he told his dad walked in, he goes, "That's Travis. He's security, and he'll be working here in 6 months." Yep. He was almost spot on. It was 8 months later I started working here.
Yes.
I haven't looked back since.
So I have an eye for talent, and so it's kind of cool. But and I have an eye for talent when it comes to doctors and everything, and so it's kind of nice. And so the podcast itself, so I always like to read our little introduction. In the past 3 years, talking about the Santa event and everything, there have been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. When you talk about the content you're producing, I tell people, we talk about 4 topics here that I believe integrate in every aspect of life. Number 1, just healthcare in general, because that's what we do. Number 2, men and women. Obviously, we know the big controversy between that for a lot of people today. Another love of mine, it's great to have a state senator here too, is politics. We're going to talk about that quite detailed tonight. And also a very thing meaning to a lot of us, religion, faith. So it's going to be kind of cool. Now, here's what happens. I do have some rules here. When we're discussing certain topics, I always tell people, a lot of people like to always finger up exceptions, not the rules. The rules apply to everybody. But people always want to get into those little exceptions. Always happens in politics. That's why I love politics so much. They want to talk about the one case this happens to, and compared to the general rule, everything should live by that way. I always use the example of abortion. I'll say, I'm pro-life. People say, but what about the woman that got raped? Well, that's the exception, not the rule. You say, and so if we can agree on the 97%, then we can talk about the exceptions later, but the general rule. And so if I find you guys talking about exceptions, I'm going to call you out on that because I want people to understand the general rule. And Kelton, you're the youngest person we had so far and stuff.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be fantastic. And it's
you
great
because
because
you have more facial hair than I do.
Yes. Me too. Shave it nice. But no, and I love the perspective because once again, I've always said this, people always say, with age comes wisdom. I think that's fucked up. A lot of you guys know a 40, 50-year-old who never let you watch your kids. Do you say age does not become wisdom? In experience, once again, and the things then reflected, that's why I believe it comes wisdom. So it's kind of nice that you're here. And we'll hope to give you some of that wisdom. Yeah. So it's kind of neat, but also see your perspective on things. So how it works is I'm going to give my statement and this thing I believe. Like we're doing some content today, and Dana's got 2 exciting ones. Is it? I think it's next week.
Yeah. Well, you can't really say.
Oh,
next
that's
week
right.
on this.
Coming on.
It
podcast.
already aired.
It
Go
already
back and
aired.
watch
That's
it.
right. Good point. And just some fantastic statements. And then what's going to do is we're going to start. We're going to go around here, and I'm going to make a statement. This is something I truly believe. And I want you to think about it, and then just let us know if you agree or disagree. But don't say why, because we're gonna go around and we're gonna pull it out, and then what happens is then we come back to you, and you get an opportunity to say, why you disagree or why you agree. Okay. Now, the one thing is this: you'd be surprised. We on one of the shows we had everybody agree, but when they explained why they agree, it was actually for all different reasons. And so it's kind of neat. And so a lot of people learn people's other perspectives in that, and so it's kind of neat. So here's what we're gonna do. And it's kind of funny because this, to me, has a lot to do with, like Travis said, over the last 3 years with all the COVID stuff. And so this is actually somewhat political, but I want to see you guys' perspective on this. And this is something I totally believe. And then we're going to see if you agree or disagree. And then here we go. So let me get to you. And I'll repeat it twice for you. First one. The silent majority is the biggest problem while evil prevails today. Let me say it again. The silent majority is the biggest problem why evil prevails today. All right. Carrie, we're going to start with you. Agree or disagree? Remember, it's just I agree or disagree.
Well, I would agree.
Corey.
I agree.
Travis.
Agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Okay, great.
Wow, shocking.
So, yes. Now, once again, if you notice, I said political, but this, you're going to find out, we're going to cover all venues of things, and because my spin will be a little different at the end, but we're going to go around, and we're going to start with you. I want you to explain why you believe that and stuff, and come through, and then I'll wrap some of it up at the end. So, all right, Carrie, why do you agree?
Okay, so just restate that one more time. So
the silent majority is the biggest problem why evil prevails today.
And I guess in a nutshell, the simplest way for me to say that is if you're silent, you're the biggest part of the problem. You're not fixing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not helping. You have a stance, obviously, but you're not acting upon it. So therefore, you're letting evil wreak havoc everywhere. That would be my perception.
Okay. Great.
If you're not standing your ground, standing your position, and it's in opposition to evil, then you are encouraging and allowing it to take place. And we all have a responsibility to do that for the betterment of society and for the protection of our families.
I believe the difference between people that speak and people that have the same beliefs but don't speak is courage and competence. And I really had no problems with people who didn't say anything. And but I was always annoyed. But I couldn't pinpoint it, or maybe I didn't give it the time of day to really reflect on that. And then Doc and I went down to Florida, and we got stuck there for 2 days. There was a slew of storms that came in, so obviously that whole domino effect, whatever, of delays. There's worse places to be stuck, trust me. Well, we were sitting there. We had a good night, a good dinner, all bonding as a team, and there was this Marine and his family, good family. I mean, they were good people, and they still are. I mean, we just had a wonderful disagreement, and this is where my aha moment comes in. He was talking. He's very libertarian, and he goes, you do you. And Doc stopped him in his tracks, and he goes, no. You're part of the problem if you're not going to say anything. Like, if you're just going to sit there and twiddle your thumbs while this world's falling apart, you're part of the problem, just by default. So really, it's true. If you're not doing anything, there's no such thing as being idle. It's either you're moving forward or you're going backwards. And I'm convinced now that the rule is that people who don't talk or stand up are part of the problem.
Very good. Yeah, I agreed. So I think that people being silent is definitely a huge issue that we have going on in our culture today that needs to be flipped around, which is obviously why we have this podcast and why we're talking about these things out loud and with authority and with conviction, because I think that people, especially right now, need to be standing up for their rights and standing up for their freedoms. And we have just gotten so far away from that, largely because we're such like an abused population at this point, because we are so beat down by things like political correctness and not like wanting to be canceled or being afraid of being canceled. And we need to realize that being canceled is imaginary. That's not real. Nobody cancels you. You can't be canceled. If you are, or if they try to, then you just show up tomorrow and you keep saying all the same things that you have been doing, except for you say them louder and with more authority and with more conviction. And we want to encourage people to do that, not just politically, but for everything that they believe in. And we obviously feel very strongly about health here too, but just, and I feel very strongly about the whole like masculine, feminine thing. So I speak out a whole lot about that, but we want everybody to be able to stand up for what they believe in and not water it down just because somebody else is offensive. I've been saying a lot lately that you shouldn't change what you're saying just because somebody's offended. You just say, hell yeah, I believe that. Why don't you? And to try to get your point across. And we just need a whole lot more of that. And I say all the time, too, that I'm sick of the soy latte pussified beta males, because that's one of the big problems, that men aren't standing up for things. Because if you have weak men, then you have a weak culture. And then we also are having the counter problem of that, of way too many women who are being masculine and boss bitches, as you like to call them. And if we let too many women get in control, women are easy to manipulate. And that just makes for the perfect storm of a population.
Great job. Kelton.
Yeah, I think the biggest where it's prevalent the most now is with the internet and with social media, because social media is one of the only things that can turn a minority into a majority. And so what I mean by that is, like, most people won't are scared to voice their opinion, or scared to do whatever, and it'll turn a large group of people that you don't realize agree with you. It'll turn them into a minority because they think that they're scared of being canceled. They're scared of saying their opinion. And that's the great thing with podcasts like these and stuff, is because you don't have to agree entirely with everything you're saying. But the great thing is you're saying what should be said, or what you think. And, just starting with doing that is, I think, the biggest step, because social media is just going to only keep getting bigger. And I think that's where the change would happen, if it's gonna.
Jen.
Energy is contagious. That's how I feel about it. So I feel like if we're silent, that's what's spreading, is that silence. If that's what's loud, that's also what's spreading. So we have to give the noise to the light and give the noise to the truth, so that it spreads like a contagion, and that's what's spreading around. I think one of the biggest decisions I ever made in my life was one of the most profound, is to heal loudly and talk about it and put a voice to it. And I think social media is an amazing vehicle for that, because you magnetize your tribe that way, and the energy of your message just reaches further and further and further. And I think we're not meant to be quiet. I think we get traumatized into being quiet. And I think you can either lean into love or fear. And I think the more we get people leaning into love and authenticity and truth, the louder we get, the more it spreads.
So what I'm going to do is Corey and Jen, you're going to respond. Corey, I want you to respond first, and then Jen, I want you to respond second. Then we'll ask the rest of you guys, because you said one key word, evil. So my question to both of you guys is who decides what is evil and what is truth? Corey, what do you got?
Who decides what is evil and what is true?
Mm-hmm. Because once again, the silent majority, we talk about the biggest problem. It's like evil. So who decides it? Who decides what's bad and what's good? Let me give you a perfect example. Masking. You're saying, the last 3 years, people say you got to wear a mask. Okay, so who decides? And who actually gets the right? And who decides if it's good or bad? So when we talk about evil, because we look at all things like when people come across, because let me give you an example. During COVID, I would not follow one of the rules. Told the government, every center, and to piss off, because I knew it was a bunch of bullshit from day one. Yet, most of the centers, in Wisconsin, most of the people, everything, they capitulate that way. And then they want to talk about, what to do and all things like that. And they're going, so who gets to decide what is? And Durham, half the people in the community thought it was Jesus, half the community thought it was Satan. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. And it's like, so that's why I tell people, it's like, who gets to decide what's right and wrong? Who's going to decide evil?
You get to decide who's evil, what's evil for you. And I might share your position. I wasn't a senator. I've only been a senator for 10 months.
Yeah, I remember that. That's why I got to say that, though. Yeah. You saying?
And during the shutdown, I was the guy that held the protests in my business parking lot. And so, I believe in that freedom. I believe in your right to make that decision for yourself.
Yep.
So you have to decide what's evil. If you think that going into another country and beheading babies is fine. Go ahead. You live with that. Let me know how that works out for you, because I think there's a lot of people that are going to think that that's evil. If you think that you have the right to tell me that I can't go to church when I want to go to church, I think that's evil. And you go ahead. You live with that. Broadcast it from the hills, and we'll see how that works out for you.
So, Jen, before we go on that, I want to keep going through core on this way because you brought us up again. Okay, so here's what happens. If it, no, this is a great. No, this is the way we run this because, and you're all going to be able to answer on the things there. But when you bring up some ideas, I want to go on this too. Think about this, okay? You said, who could decide if you go to church? All the pastors shut down. There wasn't one pastor in Wisconsin, and that stayed open and stuff. And it's kind of funny because all of them shut down right away. And yes, some people a couple months later opened up, but here's what happens. If you understood what's going on, it's like
there were people open.
How many? And
I don't know how many. I don't have a
I couldn't
statewide
find one.
reach.
Yeah, I couldn't find one, and no one's. And any pastor told me it stayed open. I said, so you had every Sunday? Well, we shut down for a little bit because we just had to see what's going on. It's like whoa, and it's like that's why I think that's why everybody
St.
knows
Paul's
me.
and Mosinee had the doors unlocked. If you came in, you were in church, and the mass was held.
The mass was allowed or not?
Oh yeah.
Mass.
Oh, mass
Yeah.
was mass
Not
was
Service.
good.
I went to church without a mask. Everybody else in the church had masks on.
Yep.
But that nobody had the balls to approach me about it.
Yeah.
Because I had made my choice.
Yeah.
I had made my choice, and that's what it was going to be. So no, there was mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, talk about evil. Who gets to decide it? Who gets to decide what the truth is?
Who gets to decide the truth? We get to decide it for ourselves. And I think the more you're in touch with your higher self and your own personal moral compass, you start to be guided by that. And you can flush out what feels true and what feels like it's rooted in authenticity and what's fake and what's evil. If you're being led by someone to something, you have to use your own discernment to really decide whether or not that sits well inside of you and be able to speak up. And to the point you guys just made, I was pregnant during the COVID pandemic when it first started, and I was terrified. So I was in a mask and looking around like, I don't want this to hurt my baby, until things started to become very obvious what was happening. And then I came around on it and was like, this doesn't feel true to me anymore, But for a while it didn't feel evil, it felt true. And then I changed my mind and it started to feel evil and it felt a different way. And I think that's a big part of us too, is knowing what you believe in, but be able to consider other viewpoints and be able to change. You don't have to die on that hill. You can learn more information and then vocally change.
So then that brought up that way in general. Well, I'm going to make you do it anyways. Anybody ever hear on thing? Then let's ask, and obviously, Corey, I know you're politically advice, so I want you to say it. So then would you guys here lean more Democrat or Republican? Carrie, what you got?
Well, I was raised Republican, and so Democrat's not even a thought in my mind, but
let's say conservative or liberal.
I'm more conservative, but
Okay.
my stance on the whole political thing right now is it's all just a big disaster. I think both sides are a nightmare. I think they're both on bed with each other. I think, and if you ask me what evil is or who decides what's evil,
Yeah,
and what's
I'm
not,
coming to you next. So that's a good
okay,
fight.
all right. That's where I am with that part of it.
No,
As
what
far
part?
Well,
Who gets to decide? Like I said, who decide what the evil
do
and
you want me
or
to
truth is?
answer that now?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I think it's the person with the most power and money. I think money is the root of all evil, right? We know that saying. And I think that that all of that nonsense that happened when we got locked down, I don't even like to say the word COVID because it's so stupid.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. We were all unnecessarily locked down. Never in the history of anything, anywhere, ever getting sick, do you lock all the healthy people down.
Yep.
And whatever. It just didn't, none of it added up. And so to me, I'm a big history fan.
Yep.
So if you look through history, it's all power play. It's about power. It's about money.
Yeah.
If I lock you down, I can control you. If I do this, if I do that, what's happening behind doors in all those other countries, along with our country? I mean, I watched Trump the day that we got locked down. stand and say, oh, look at our partners who are helping us. Who are they? Oh, Pfizer and this place and Walmart and Target, all these pharmaceutical companies are going to help us out. Well, whose pockets just all got lined? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like that's evil. Money and power cause ever since Adam and Eve, money and power will cause people to do things that are evil.
So I'm worth over $100 million. Am I evil?
I was
No.
gonna say, is money evil?
No, I don't mean it in that way. I mean in the global scale of like government and things
Right.
like that. That's where I'm going with this.
I think money could highlight character.
Yeah.
You know, I think that brings out someone's character more than
Right.
anything.
I've always
Right.
said money, power, and alcohol take away your inhibitions.
Right.
And if you're a generous person, you get money, you become more generous.
Right.
Sorry, I'm extremely generous.
Right.
You
And
know,
stuff of that.
The only thing I'll correct is you said money is evil. You're almost right. It's the love of money.
I love money.
But like
I fucking love it. So this concept of
Yeah.
it. Well, watch this. All you guys love money.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
know
yeah,
why?
yeah,
Because
of course
here's
we do.
why. The most people, and I'll put this somewhat a different way. People say money's not the most important thing in the world. I said, but money affects every important thing in life.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's why when people have this bullshit about money, you're teaching your kids money's bad. You're teaching churches do that shit until they need it.
Right.
Do you understand? So it's like, because if it just brings out character, it reveals it. And I fucking love money. So guess what? I'm going to Hawaii. All my staff, you love money because you know what? I'm paying for your trip to go to Hawaii.
Yep.
So we have to stop this bullshit and this over spiritualized bullshit about these church catchphrases that lead people down the road. Because you know what it does? It gives young men and especially young men an excuse not to go chase it.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know, you're a good looking guy, but you're 19, you're going to get away with being broke right now. But you come 30 and you don't have your mind, muscle, money together, you're getting no women. Do you understand?
For sure.
This is why I want to have these kind of discussions, because we got to get rid of this stuff and the catchphrases that people do and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, so go on.
I was just going to take it one step further.
Yeah.
So does that mean just that because I want to get a paycheck and I love money that's bad? No, it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that money and where your mindset takes you. If you got an unhealthy mindset, you got your priorities all out of whack, you're going to put that money into places that are not going to benefit you or society. So you pretty much answer the rest of that. But I mean, it's the love of money and where you put that love, and where you gear towards is where it can be considered evil or good. Obviously, Doc does a lot of good with his money. Not a lot of people do that. And a lot of people get their money in a very shady, nasty way. So it's all about your perspective, your mindset, and what you do with it.
So, Kelton, who decides what's evil?
I agree with them that, you decide what's your evil and what's true to you. I think the important thing for people, especially now, my age, that are coming into being able to vote and be able to do the research themselves, the reason we have scientists, certifications, doctors, everything is so that they give us the right information. It's not so they decide it. You know what I mean? So I think it's important for people to take in the information that everyone's giving, but I think the biggest thing wrong with society right now is the people that are higher up and might have certifications, might have more information. That's great for giving information, but that still shouldn't control what everyone's doing.
So would you side more on liberal or a conservative viewpoint?
Conservative.
Jen, what about you? Because you already answered the evil question.
I kind of am with Carrie on it. I think it's all a stage, honestly, and I don't. And I'm sorry to say that in front of a senator, but I really.
Say it anyway.
But here's but I'm gonna challenge both of you guys on it. There's a stage that you're gonna have to
Yes.
vote on.
I know.
Sure, yeah.
And so if the nominees then were Trump or Biden, which way are you guys going?
Oh, Trump. I mean, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
I don't know.
And the reason I challenge people is this,
I
because
don't know
this is where people are incongruent. You can't talk about truth and change and self thing and then vote another way. You can't. You can't tell me that you love freedom, you love choice and stuff like that, and then vote for Biden. You can't. You cannot tell me that shit. That's a bunch of bullshit that way, because everything that he took and everything he did was against that.
Right.
And see, that's what I tell people, and we have to be. And here's what happens. I tell people this: some holidays are coming up. Do you ever notice? I believe it was evil people that convinced people not to talk about religion and politics and everything during the holidays. Like, why? Because you know why? Because here's what happens. This is I don't. If I have an uncle or an aunt that thinks different than me, I don't give a shit if they feel bad about themselves. On this podcast, I don't care if everybody on this panel feels bad about themselves that are done talking to me. Because you know why? Because I'm like going, no. Because here's what happens this. And we're going to come back to that because Dana and you still have to answer this too. Is who gets to decide what's evil? Because look at it this way, your position changed. So the fact that when COVID's mass, you got scared. And women are very easy to manipulate. Very easy. And politicians know it. You say, if I was a politician, male politician, I wouldn't even go towards the men. I'd emotionally manipulate women to get what I wanted. Why do you think Democratic Party even exists? Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Because Republican Party in a little bit, like I said, and once again, I'm with you guys. I think that from a party standpoint, I don't think we should have one. You understand? I think that there's things that people are gonna lean a little bit more strong right or middle on and things like that. But the idea is like going, we should be able to rational through these things and go, okay, listen, where are we at in these things? You understand? So, but let's keep on going. Dana, who decides what's evil?
Well, I mean, okay, there's kind of like two parts to probably what I want to say. I mean, in the grand overall scheme, sure, like people who are in power end up deciding what's good and evil, and that gets pumped out into the media, and then that's what people end up believing. There's a lot of like astroturfing that goes on, right? People making up these problems that nobody actually has right? Like the NFL team names, nobody has a problem with that. Nobody. But they put that out there and made it seem like everybody had a problem with that, right? And so I do think there is something to say about, people who are in control can be little puppet masters about some of these things. They make it seem like something is good or something is evil. But I also come back to like, look, truth is truth at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And you can, to a certain extent, say that like my truth is my truth, or I decide what's true and what's not truth. But that only goes so far. There are lines here because, look, I'm a woman, and I can tell you I'm a man all I want. That's not true. And we have to see where these lines are of what's true and what's not, ultimately. We can make some calls for ourselves, but we can't lose sight of what's actually true.
So I'm going to give my answer at the end, or maybe try to anyways. Is anyone here bold enough to say if they're a person of faith or not?
Yeah.
Everybody? Okay. So we actually had a couple atheists on recently.
Yeah.
So.
And they enjoyed it.
Yep. So let's just pretend that Kelvin is an atheist. Okay.
Yep.
Can you do that for a minute? Give him a
Yep.
spare minute here. All right. So what I would tell someone is, all right, who makes the rules? All right. So do you believe that murder's bad?
Yes.
Do you believe stealing's bad?
Yes.
Adultery or what else? All the whole 10 yards, the whole 10 list right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that those are bad?
Yeah.
So God makes the rules.
Which God?
Because God, Abraham, Jesus. But here's the deal. I say that because we are founded as a nation on these rules, and we've abided by them since the beginning. And it's not till recent that we really, really let loose of our lawlessness. But everybody wants it, but no one wants to follow it. So that's an issue that we have in society that we have to fix. So the rule maker was thousands of years ago, in my opinion. And I stand by that because, it's funny how things line up and are much better and smoother in society when we actually follow the rules. The rules are there really to keep us just away from sin, but also from shit in the bed, from making a horrible mistake that's going to destroy our lives. And obviously Jesus saved us for our salvation. But my point is, on this society and on this planet, we need to focus on keeping the rules and staying disciplined. Otherwise, this happens, and we're all here talking about it. I mean, if things were going smooth and running nicely, we wouldn't be here today. So maybe in a way, it's kind of nice.
So if I was an atheist that agreed with everything you said without following a religion, what would you say then would be the reason for me to follow a religion?
I would answer your question with a question. Why are you following them?
Because I think it's morally right. I don't know.
Okay, so then who told you it's morally right?
I don't know. I guess it's a good. I mean,
you know what I mean. Basically, it's going to break down to either if you don't believe in God, you have to believe in the law and the Constitution and what we stand for, because it was founded on that. So, either way, you get stuck. Yeah. So now the only hope you have is that the Democrats are going to keep peeling it back and trying to fix it and change it and make it more perverse.
Yeah.
In the 20, well, let me see.
They should be my example.
The 30 years that I've been involved in politics, actually, the funny part is this is there has become more of a divide. Do you understand? Most of the things were more in the middle than ever 30 years ago that way. There was just people would disagree on a couple things that way, but the majority of people had an overall arching aspect of it that way. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that division is a good thing? For example, I actually, not very long ago, RFK, it was kind of cool. And I love when people say this, but I want to get your thoughts on this related to these things. He's like, we need a president that brings people together. Do you agree or disagree on that? With Corey, we start with you.
Yeah, go.
I agree as long as it's on the right subjects.
So who gets to decide the right subjects?
My exception.
With an asterisk.
Yeah.
No, do you see where I'm going with this? So Carrie, what do you think?
I would agree with Corey. I think unity is a great thing if unity is for the right thing. So it would have to depend on what the cause or rules would be. Topics.
Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. Historically, some unity hasn't worked out very well for the masses to believe certain things. So I think there's always going to be inherent duality. But I do think that also gets stoked like a fire in this country, and the polarities make it a lot harder to get stuff done. And so, yeah, exactly. For the right thing and with the right intention, unity will drive things further ahead quicker for us. But I don't think we're ever going to do away with duality.
I don't think division is a bad thing, as long as it's understood that you can be okay with being divided. So like you mentioned your aunt, you're not worried about offending your aunt or whatever, If that was a situation where because we don't want to be divided for the sake of not being divided, we're going to just blindly agree to the same thing, I would rather there be division than have a situation like that, because then we're going back to the thing about not speaking your mind and not being an advocate for what you think. So I'd rather someone speak their mind, but you could also say, though, understanding that the division doesn't mean it's the end of the world. That could be a way of uniting. So I could see both ways, but yeah, definitely I don't think division's a bad thing in that form.
I was actually going to say something similar to that, because like you said, when you're divided, you're sharing your different opinions, and you're hopefully not afraid to do any of that. And growth can't come unless you're doing things like that. And you have to risk being offensive to other people in order to actually find the truth in something, to actually grow in something and make something better.
Travis?
Conflict, it leads to correction, in my opinion. So I think that division is pretty good. It's a good thing. I don't like some of the division that we're going through right now, but I think you need that. Otherwise, if everyone's all on the same page, you get the wrong person in power, and we'll find ourselves in a world of hurt. Look at the last 4 years. But, or even the 8 years prior to Trump, it was horrible. And we want to, this whole division thing is, I'm losing my train of thought here. Forgive me. His type of division, I didn't like what Obama did. Okay, can I say Obama on the podcast? Is that a swear word? Okay. So, but no, he divided us in a bad way. But I like from a process standpoint. I like other people's opinions. I like people to have diversity and bring things to the table. I guess is what I'm trying to get at, because that's how good ideas come. That's how inventions happen. That's how a whole world of opportunities can come to your fingertips. But otherwise, if we all were like the lemmings, if we all followed and did the exact same thing, eventually we'd fall off the cliff.
I love division. I love it in every single way.
You.
Well, if you think of it this way, we have a country because we became a division. And it's kind of funny. And I know what people are trying to say. We're trying to unite around certain ideas. I don't know why people have to say we're united. We have to reunite the country. We already have a whole bunch of documents we're supposed to all believe in and abide by. If we don't, what are you doing here? Do you understand? It's like that's why, I tell people, it's like, if you go over to Dubai and their truth is based on Muslim things, if you don't believe in it, then they exit. You understand? So we've established that already. So that's why I tell people, I think division is a great thing, because here's what happens to this. Think of it this way. Let's go back to this. because we've so moved away from things that made us great in this country, we think people should have a voice. I don't think everybody should have a voice. A lot of people are very dumb.
Amen.
They're fucking stupid. You understand? And it's like, they really are. And it's really fun. And people prove it every single day. And the idea is this. And so therefore we have a uniting principles that people go wrong, and they're trying to challenge those. And they said they'll always say acceptance. But you know what's so funny? The people who scream acceptance most are the people that are the ones that accept the least. You understand? It's like,
Yes, that's true.
it's very true. It's like going, and I sit there and go, and then here's what happens. This is where it comes back and pulling back around to our stuff. Of all the topics we talked about that way, that's why if you are, the only way you become united is if you're silent, because then people think you agree with them.
Yep.
They really do. And that's the whole thing about it. When we'll talk about the silent majority, when people tell me that they disagreed with the lockdowns, but they still follow them, I'm like, you're the fucking problem. Oh no, I believe this. You're the fucking problem. Do you say I'm? Because if you're really the silent majority, then what happens is this: you'd be like, okay, listen, this behavior is unacceptable. Remember, it's really funny. I've always said this. I want you to think about this. You have to give authority to it in order for it to work. If it's not a law. Do you understand? During COVID, there was no laws. So why did you give it authority? You understand? That's why I kind of laugh at going, I understand that we have laws, and that's why I said that would, and if you break a law, I believe that'd be evil. If you murder somebody, we have laws that protect, life that way. But if there was no law that was implemented, because we are a nation of laws, you understand? We're not a nation of, we think this, and we're doing this for the better good. Because you got Corey.
No, we're a nation of freedom.
Yeah.
And
Right.
freedom is the freedom to be stupid too.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Do you understand? That I'm very okay
Survival
with
of the fittest, people.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you were talking about unity, and then you were talking about like politics and stuff before, like how women are easy to manipulate, and that whole unity message was probably just created in politics for women, because women like that nice, cushy feeling. Everybody's equal and happy and together.
Yep. Well, it's funny you say that, because here's what happens this. If you think about when they did COVID, do you understand? They didn't talk about money. They talked about grandma and people. Fuck your grandma. I don't give a shit if any of your grandmas die from COVID. Nor do you give a shit if my grandma dies from COVID. And when you're a man, unless you're a soy boy that doesn't want to make money or
Soy
things
latte,
that.
pussified beta male.
Thank you. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this, because I mean this sincerely. Now watch this. I mean this sincerely. And I bring this up, and it surprises people, because people say, well, Doc, you're a person of faith. You give a lot, you care a lot that way. But I want to show you this. The farther that a person is away from you, and I mean the fact that you have no relationship with, or you don't live life with, you don't give a shit about them. Honestly, think of it this way: you don't give a shit about them. You want me to prove it? You want to prove how all you guys sitting here don't give a shit about people? How many guys are actually donating all your money over the kids in Africa that died, and the families that died just from dehydration or malnutrition? You don't give a shit. You're like, screw them. They're not my kids. Do you understand? But let me ask you a question. Let's say that you had a nephew or a grandson that could have been in a situation where they needed food. What would you do?
I'd be there.
That's my point. See, the farther that they get away, and that's why people try and see, but it's so easy to manipulate women, because all you have to do is, watch this. If I want to manipulate you, all I have to do is talk about a 2-year-old that died from COVID. It's a little girl and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sincerely, try to close my business down. I don't give a shit if your 2-year-old dies. Because if I can't pay my bills that keep money in my family's pocket and things like that, keep them going, moving forward, and what'd they give people? $800 or whatever it was? Do you follow me?
Yeah.
You understand?
Stimulus.
And that's what I said. I know it's really funny. Jen, if you're on a podcast and said, well, to protect my kids, I'll tell you sorry. Fuck your kids. I don't live life with you. I don't give a shit about your kids. I'm not responsible for them. You understand? And I know it sounds brutal, but really, all you guys think the same way. If I said, Jen, your kids can't eat, I'm gonna make you stay home. Do you understand? Because then they did what? They forced you to be reliant on Uncle Sam. I always want to say this. Do you know, it's really funny. I don't know about you guys. There's a lot of fucking uncles I hate.
A lot of what?
Uncles. You understand? You got mother, you got father time, and you got an uncle. It's usually like the uncle that raped you. You understand? That's what United States Uncle Sam feels like right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelton, what you got?
I think you bring up a great point about how small like a community should usually be, and how tight knit, and those are the people that you actually care about, and that's something that I don't think many people talk about with social media is when you're having, 5,000-10,000 followers that you're supposed to care all about, go through and like everyone's picture and comment and DM. That's all a load on you that you think like that matters to you, and so I think that that's something that needs to people need to be more aware of is, I mean, if you're taxing your mind and your emotions all day about, oh, I just saw this on Instagram and I have to go DM them, but you don't really care about them, you're still going to sleep. So it's like that's a great point. I think you got to try to keep a community tight that you know that you care about and know that cares about you, because a lot of times with social media especially, it just gets too far out.
Yep. So Carrie, what you got?
I think people just don't think about that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're just selfish, self-centered, that kind of thing. If I'm sitting like here right now, I'm not thinking about starving children in Africa. It doesn't, it's not, unless somebody sticks it right in front of my face on a screen or the radio or whatever I'm listening to, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, okay, this is a tragedy or something's happening. But otherwise, everybody's in their own bubble doing their own thing with whoever's right next to them or your immediate family, so workers, whatever it is. So you're not, to your point, you don't care because you're not even thinking about it. Why would you care?
That's the point.
Yeah.
And see, that's the point. But here's what happens this. They'll, create a video, put some soft music and say, you have to get the shot. You have to stay home because, this grandma died. Sure. And you're right. And what they do is, and because what happens is this, and that's why I think the people become the silent majority, is like, when I come along and I say, fuck your kids, fuck your grandma, they're like, most people go, yeah, that's kind of true. But it's like going, but people don't want to offend anybody today.
Right.
What you got there? You got there, Corey. You got.
I just had the image in my head of the Humane Society commercial.
Oh, it's the same thing.
That's
what I said.
I know.
I will remember
Yes, Sarah
you.
And guess what happens? I'm like going, do you know what I said during COVID and during all this stuff, when they closed down, they were running those commercials? I'm like, because I think pet owners are just as fucking stupid too. Because you know why? Because they're animals. Sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. Yes, you women that can't get a man, so you have a dog. It's still not
cats.
a human or a cat.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, but the idea is this. It's like they were asking people for donations for the humane. I'm like, dude, freaking kill the dogs and eat the bastards and cats and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Food. I don't give a shit. Yeah, no, they're asking for
We're not
things.
quite there yet.
No.
Yes.
I disagree.
Month
You
or
say
two.
that right now
Yeah.
because guess what
When it
happens?
co- yeah,
If
when
there
it
was
comes
no
to
money
it.
coming
Until
out,
you're
you'd
starving,
you
yeah.
think I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many people here grew up poor. Do you know that we didn't eat a lot of beef when we grew up? You know why? We couldn't afford it, so we ate a lot of deer. So I tell people, well, you need a cat. That's because do you understand? Everybody in the United
Squirrel?
States. Yeah, squirrel. Oh, we still,
Squirrel, yeah.
dude, gravy soaked is fantastic.
Shake and bake for chicken.
Yes. Oh, I remember all that
Shake
stuff.
and bake.
Well,
We're
and see,
disconditioned to
but
not
see-
eat the cats and dogs.
we're conditioned to it, but you know something? There's other cultures that. Do you understand we're the only culture, and I've traveled all over the world too, and healthcare and stuff like that. Do you understand we're the only culture that doesn't eat bugs? There's bugs eaten all over. You understand? There really is. And so it happens, and that's the point I'm going. That's why I kind of laugh. I'm like going, this because of the things we should be united around, which is some of our founding principles. It's allowed us for 200 years to have it good. Even 100 years ago, we still had it better than a lot of foreign countries. You know, saying like, well, we've evolved. Yes, but the idea is this: so people have had it too good. Because I guarantee, it's really funny. That's what I tell people. And, as a political person, I don't think anybody. We talked about it on one of our shows. Stop defending girls' bad decisions to get knocked up by some guy and give them medical assistance and stuff like that. When it's like, I didn't fucking knock you up. Why are you taking my money to pay for your dumb choices? See, we all believe it. See, we all should even shake your hand, and go, kind of trying to true. But wait, my friend got pregnant and she needs to have the baby, and someone else. No.
So help her.
Yeah, so help her. Give her your own
You're a
money.
friend.
Right.
See, we all agree with this, but you guys are all silent on it. Yeah. So I consider people that are silent won't say stuff that I say, that even though everybody agrees with me, that you're the problem. You're the problem. Because you should go to your center and go, stop voting for this dumb shit. Do you saying?
I'm not.
No, I'm saying that. No. I actually looked up your record. No, I'm saying no, but you have to. They're saying we have to go to it. And that's why when people say I don't want to get involved in politics, you're the part of the problem. people say they don't give out. So politics by nature, if you look at definition, is based on your community. You know what I'm saying? And we have local communities, we have state communities, we have federal community that way. You have to be involved and stuff. And so people, and that's one thing that we've been getting a massive comments on the podcast. Like, man, we've never thought about it that way until you guys brought it up. Okay.
Well, because remember, the people at more of the top making like political decisions or the top of anything, it's easier for them to do that because they are, like you were saying, so far away from the people it's actually affecting.
I was on the school board in Moseley, and I'll tell you that if you want to impact any school board, show up for a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Because too often those school board meetings happen with just the school board and then a few of the school employees and none of the people that are actually in the district. And you get a couple of people that they've never seen before, and they show up and they're up like, who's that? Where are those people from? What are they here for? And it affects how they make decisions, how they say. So if you break that veil, you get in front of them, get involved and be present.
And that's a big key because, if you look at all the things that did come up, and here's one thing that bothered me most, but Dana, actually you're sitting here right now because of this. If you think about this, the majority of people showing up at the school boards or at political rallies and stuff like that, was it men or women?
Women.
It's by far women.
Yeah.
Is by far women. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to women at all, but if there was 30 women outside protesting right now about how I talk and what we do that way, what we do for healthcare that way, I'd walk out and be like, bitches, get out of my way. Would be. Because I'm like, sorry, you're women. I'm going to backslap you. You're done. You know what I'm saying? Now, if there's 30 Travises standing out there, guess what happens?
Take it more seriously.
Somebody's
You're gonna
making
make sure
a
you have a
point.
gun.
Then,
Yeah, that's the same. I'm going, I got my gun. I'm walking out with it with open carry. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I'm sorry, women don't intimidate anybody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sorry, when you were speaking up to the thing that way, you had good words and it was great. You can fight, but you're not as intimidated by women as you are by men.
No.
And stuff. Because you know why? And this really bothers everybody, but it's like, come on now, we wouldn't have a country of that. And this is what we talk about down in Florida. It's really funny because I think the insurrection, whatever they want to call it, January 6th, was so needed. And I actually wish it went a little farther. I wish somebody would have died. I wish they would have killed a couple senators and stuff.
Well, you know what? In the Old Testament, they killed people for a lot less.
Well, and here's why. Because here's what happens here, and I mean this sincerely, and you're going to see this being in politics for a little while as you see it more, is you guys all sit there and you talked about it. The evil prevails, like people that are bribing people, having influence this way. We know a lot of things are changed that way because they'll just pay them off and stuff. We know I'm involved in it. You know what I'm saying? And remember, and I can tell you, I donate to candidates that just fight for freedom. I don't donate to candidates or anything they can't do anything for my business or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have any pony in game besides freedom. But here's what happens this. But why do they do it? They have no what? They have no fear. They have no fear. January 6th was the first time that there was actually fear. Do you see what I'm saying? Because here's what happens this. The reason why a guy sometimes will say something to another guy, because they have stupid protection of the law saying, well, he hit me. It's assault. No, you cocked off. You belong to getting punched in the face. Remember, violence isn't the answer. It's a solution.
Fistfights are okay.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a misdemeanor or whatever it is they
I've
are.
been in many fights in my day, and they made me stronger.
They did.
Still
Well, on top of it, and that's the thing about it, like, when we look at these things, like going, I don't know why people, because you think I'm joking, you should see what happens. Well, I guarantee you see it. There's backdoor deals all the time, and I see it all the time. Do you want me to give you names? You want me to give you companies? You want me to give you things that happen in the state?
I'm not sure what you mean by backdoor deal. I haven't seen anything like that. I've not been offered money or anything. I mean, I'm just a state senator.
Yes, you're just a state. You're not. You're still low on a totem pole. Wait till you get up there a little bit that way.
We still appreciate you, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I start acting that way, then someone should grab me by the collar and shake me. But
Thank you. You see what you said right there?
Yeah.
You saying? Because that's the only thing that will give you fear. What happens is this, and that's why a lot of people don't realize. And one of the other ways to get political people fear is actually be active in your community. Let them know what they're doing. I always tell people I love to show politicians are doing. It's all public record. When was the last time, with the exception of you, when was the last time any of you guys pulled up how your state senators and your representatives voted and what they're doing, or they didn't vote? Do Do you see what I'm saying? And how many of you have called them? How many have been active? You can find out.
No, very few people
Thank
call
you.
us.
Now, here's a question. So, Corey, we're going to start with you. Why do you think that is? And then we're going to go, then Carrie, we're going to go to you, and then Jen, we're going to you, and Kelton, and then we're going to ask these two.
That they don't believe it'll have an impact.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's just I'm just one person, so what's the point in calling or stating anything?
Yep. Jen?
Yeah, I think that there's a lack of empowerment with people. They don't necessarily know that it'll be worth their time or worth their energy. And I think it's also a lot of people are in survival mode. Mm-hmm. You know, they're really just going paycheck to paycheck and doing what they have to do. And I think it's hard for them to necessarily sit down and think outside of their day-to-day grind.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people think because of the corruption they believe happens or whatever, they just think that that's, you know, the only thing powering it. So what is my call or what is my whatever going to do if it's powered by something else?
I think that people just don't even really know what's going on, first of all, right? Because they're not showing up to school board meetings or anything like that. I mean, I definitely didn't know what was going on until COVID started to hit. And then I went to every single school board meeting. I knew who every single one of those people were. They heard from me very, very regularly. Now that's died off. And I admit now I haven't been to any of those meetings in a while. But people don't really know what's going on in their community until it affects them, until it causes them some kind of pain and causes them to have to come make some kind of change that makes them uncomfortable. Then they'll care about it. But the reaction we're not really, I guess, maybe as conditioned as we should be to be proactive with these things and be in front of people to be getting what we need. Because like you also said, a lot of people are in survival mode. We're so bogged down by everything else. We can't possibly play whack-a-mole with everything going on out in culture.
Jarvis?
I think ignorance is a big reason why people don't call. I think people don't know what's going on out there, and they really should, because a lot of backdoor deals, a lot of little side votes happening that are ugly. You see all the time on the news and everything. But why I don't personally, I would go there and whoop their ass, and I'd be in jail. And I like my job, and I like to have sex with my wife.
Well, you can have sex in
right
jail,
over there.
just not with your wife.
Yeah. You're going to have to tuck it back and put some
Corey,
rouge
what you
on
got?
it.
I got to say, any elected official that's worth their salt is tracking the phone calls.
By far there.
And they don't send a form email. Those are worthless. You know, you get a group or a special interest that says, here's an example of the email that you should send your senator or whatever. You know, we see those, and it's like, okay, those people aren't sincere.
Yep.
But if you call and you talk to a staff or you ask to have the senator call you back, and I try to do that, and you're sincere and you have a legitimate interest or reason that you want to communicate about an issue, we want to hear that. Yep. If we're doing our jobs, we're representing the people from the districts that we were elected to.
Yep.
So I want to hear from the people of the 29th. I want to hear what their thoughts are saying.
So I got a question for you. In Kelton, we're going to start with you. We're going to beat up on you a little bit. Okay. So question for you. Are you a Packer fan?
I'm not, actually. I'm a Bears fan.
You're a Bears fan. Okay.
Tough. I know. I'm not one of those Bears fans that would be delusional to what's happening.
So let me ask you a question.
Dogs too.
So let me ask you a question. So do you watch football then every Sunday?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Jen?
I don't watch.
Okay. What do you do for fun? What do you do for...
All kinds of kid stuff.
Okay.
Pumpkin patches, Paw Patrol.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel the Paw Patrol.
Carrie, you a Pack fan?
No, I'm not a Packer fan.
Any sports or anything you watch or anything?
Baseball. We're a big baseball family. And, I mean, I have sons that play football. I like watching them play.
Yes.
I'm not really big on pro sports. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Corey?
Stockholder.
Okay. Oh, fake stockholder. We'll get into that too. Anyways, but let's go this. But let me show you how our generations, Kelton, if you continue to be a Bears fan or football fan, you'll never achieve anything in life. See, here's what happens. Jen, let me see a question. Because you talked about this way. The majority of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Do you know that the majority of people that watch it paycheck to paycheck, especially here in Wisconsin, Green Bay, I asked them, I said, do you watch Packers? And I said, yep. And I said, do you make money off the Packers? No. And that's why you live paycheck to paycheck. The fuck are you wasting 3 hours of your day for? Do you say? And Packers are so dumb, they sell people fake stock, and they think, how much money do you make off that stock?
Nothing.
If you sell it, you go to jail. It's not a joke. See, we have to have these conversations. The people of Green Bay are so fucking stupid. Sorry, they are. It's like, and on top of it, so people say, don't tell me I don't have time. You sit and watch Packers all day? Well, let me ask a question. What benefit? Look at the history. You love history, right? Mm-hmm. Look at why was the Coliseum created
Well, because
in Rome?
if we entertain them and we distract them, then we control them. That's how that works.
Yep.
So, Kelton, let me ask you a question. You want to accomplish something and have impact in life, right?
Yeah.
If another guy has the same kind of business you do and doesn't watch the Bears and works on himself and works on his business, what is he going to do to you in competition?
He's gonna whoop my ass, probably.
Do you follow me?
Yeah.
You think I'm joking?
No, for sure.
Travis, all these guys, I'm like, what the hell are you watching this for? Distract. And people say, well, I need entertainment. I need distract. I need to time to relax from the life that you created. I'm sorry. I don't waste any time. And I guarantee if I shared you what I'm going to do over next month and the things in my life in that way, you'd all be envious. Mm-hmm. You saying? How many of you guys want to spend 3 weeks in Hawaii? That's my point. Do you saying? And it might be somewhere else, might this, but it'll be something that's enjoyable. That doesn't come from love. That doesn't come from, somebody liking you. Mm-hmm. Do you saying?
So just curious then, do you think that then there could be a benefit in productivity to having a break or
break from what?
From
the life you created?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
See, when it comes to like Carrie, what she said this. Now, if you think about it this way, is the family time that she uses baseball in and things like that. That's highly valuable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing what? Now, once again, I tell people if my wife and daughters were massive Packer fans and we got together and we spent time together and connected, and because I believe family is a very key to our country and great things and things, I'd probably paint my face green and gold. Mm-hmm. But see, what happens is, and that's what I'm trying to get at with everybody going, and when we look at those things, and that's why I talk about people at paycheck to paycheck, and I'll sit there and and Travis and I are more tougher on men on this way. It's like, well, you watch football? Yep, all day. Do your wife and sit there with you? And the wife, we had this on a show. Wife's like, I don't want to, like, so you all day and you live paycheck to paycheck, you're not a man.
Sure, there's a lot of people that use it to get away from their
from the life they created,
family or whatever. Yeah,
from the family they created. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, as I love it, it's like anytime people need to distract themselves, I'm like, you created your life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I don't run away from my life. I'm running towards it. So, what you got there, Corey? You have some thoughts. Share your thoughts.
I disagree. I think you need some downtime. And if you have a business and you're competing with someone and the guy stays working on his business 24/7 and doesn't take some time to relax or build time with his family.
Two different things. Two different things. Downtime and what's downtime?
You're going to burn out. Mm-hmm. And then, or that guy's going to burn out. And you're going to have some recharge time and be able to do that. I've watched Packer games, mm-hmm. Yet I've built a company that's been in existence for 34 years. I have.
So if I want to compete with you, all I have to do is outwork you. And see, and what's downtime? See, downtime is running away from something you don't want to be around. Mm-hmm. I always let people say this. My kid can't focus. Give him an iPad. What does he do for 12 hours straight?
Mm-hmm. Focus.
See, that's why I kind of laugh about this and downtime. And people say, well, I don't enjoy my job. I'm like, okay, well then, and it's my means to an end that way. I'm okay with that. But the idea is but then you can be building the life that you want on those times. Because, because one thing is this. What do you think is the most valuable thing that everybody has? Jen, what do you think is the most valuable thing everybody has?
Our health.
Health, okay.
Health and family, yeah.
Okay.
Time.
Okay, Corey?
Family.
Time.
Dana?
Money can buy you all those things.
Can't buy a family.
Can't buy time.
No, you can buy kids.
Yes.
I'm not wrong.
Time.
Yeah, see,
money can buy you time, too.
Yeah. I think time is by far the most impressive thing because you can actually get in our family. You can get more money. You get things. The one thing you can't get, I'm sorry, I'm 49 now. Do you guys remember you blinked and you went from a teenager to 40 years old? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say to Kelton, hey, you're 19. You said time. Remember that.
That's
That's going to be your ally. For us, we're starting to hit that back nine, right? So I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I'm 42, so I'm kind of.
Corey's on the last couple holes. Come on now.
You get that all. No, but so remember that because if I, Doc actually once said, this is perfect segue. He said, if you can go back in 20 years and talk to anybody anybody, who would you talk to? And he said, myself.
My younger self.
Yeah.
So this is me talking to
Absolutely.
my younger self who got into working out right away. Don't waste time. Don't be doing the in your 20s and hanging out at the clubs and hanging out with loose women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be fun at the time, but you'll be itching later, and you'll be a beer gut, and then you'll be, But my point is,
Paying child support.
you can even do like, hey, what would you do with your 3 hours if you didn't watch the Bears? I mean, P.S. They're going to lose anyways.
And you don't have to sit and watch the Bears.
Yeah.
You can listen to them on radio.
Yeah. I mean,
You can listen to them on a podcast later.
yeah, you can. There's a lot of different ways to watch it. Yeah, I mean, I would probably, I don't know, be either working out or doing schoolwork, posting videos, whatever.
I was thinking you could be working on content.
Yeah,
Maybe give me a call.
yeah.
We could work on it. I'm just saying, you don't lose that. And like, it's not very often we get someone of your age to come in
Right.
here who says something so mature, like remembering that time is valuable. People, we're all a little older, obviously, and we know that.
Yeah.
But you're 19. Don't lose that.
Yeah.
If you keep that, you're gonna go places.
Corey, I want to come back to you on a question because Travis pointed out something this way. If you don't mind, can I ask how old you are?
61.
Would you agree that the 19-year-olds of today are different than the 19-year-olds when you were 19?
Probably.
I would agree with you on that. Just because, we look at, I think our culture, I think females have allowed, kids to be not transferred to adults the way it is. Now it's like, we're talking as a 19-year-old, but you look at all the kids that stormed Normandy. They were 18, 19, 20 years old.
Right.
You say, and I think I think what happens is, I think society has become so feminine that, you can't tell a boy to toughen up anymore. It's like at 13 years old, they're still treated, and now we allow both men and women, young men and women, to be on their dad's insurance so they're 26, have no responsibility. Adolescence has been more and more.
Politicians did that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But they did it from the standpoint of what kind of traits, masculine or feminine.
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 See, that's why feminine traits in society do not bathe well. You understand? Because just even from a sports standpoint, how many guys want the Packer players to be nurturing, compassionate, caring? Get yeah, he does. So he can beat them. I think
Red
Chicago
98.
takes that.
Red 98, hot.
Yes.
Good luck with the ball, buddy.
We're to have the Vikings for that.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
queens.
right.
But let's take a sports analogy on this. Do you know what's really funny is in Corey, would you agree, being a Packer fan, that you'd like to see him win the Super Bowl every year?
Sure.
Okay, and you'd want you get excited that when they recruit the best players, correct?
Sure.
See, that's the thing. It's really funny. Sports is the only place that that the masculine can be recognized and actually appreciated compared to every other. If you do that in business, like I said before, if I come to you as let's say you, Jen, you have a business, correct? You said.
No, I don't have a
Okay, but let's say that somebody here as a female had a business, and now your business enters society, and I go, what's that?
Hi.
Oh, yes, I
Right
know
here.
that. Yeah, our guest. I'm trying to guess that way.
Wait for it.
No, but the idea is this: and going, okay, if there's and here's what happens. I said, you know something? Don't care that you're male or female. Society, you're asexual because why? You have to add value to society to actually get a return on something. So therefore, I'm going to come and go. Well, I'm just going to compete with it. I'm gonna tear you apart. I'm gonna take your job. Another woman would say, I can't believe you would do that to another woman. But what if another player comes in and says, I want your job, I want to beat you out, I want this, and be like, yeah, we want the best people there. Isn't it funny that sports are the only place that masculine is actually accepted of today? Which got Kelton.
I think that's why so much stuff is going downhill. Like, I can speak in my experience with the EMT and fire in Milwaukee and stuff. There's so many people that are trying to get out of there, trying to go to different cities because they're tired of the politics, the favoring, and it's ultimately because I think the testing, especially, like, I can speak on the testing, they will give preference points to minorities, or they'll give a preference point to women, or will lower the standards for them. And I think, if you're running a local business, or you're trying to profit, by yourself, fine, whatever, do that in your business. But in terms of fire and rescue, people that are supposed to be coming to save the day. I want the very best person.
Well, that's no different
Right.
business. I'm not going to lower my standard for what I want for a business.
And it's just, to me, that seems like something that's kind of being overlooked in terms of why is this no longer we want the best
So,
person?
question for you. Are you speaking out, stand up against it? Or are you being a silent majority on that?
I'd like to think that I'm
No,
speaking
you're not.
out.
You're not, because you would have said it right away. Just be honest. No, we have to have honest conversations with people. As a young man, you say, this is bullshit. Because you know why? I'm sorry. Sarah works out back there with Travis, and if my house is on fire and let's say my leg is broke, I don't want Sarah's small ass trying to get me out of the damn house. What I look at a female cop and I laugh. I'm like, I'm gonna punch you once and you're done. That's why I cannot wait till, and this doesn't happen since you guys are football fans here. Let a woman get out there and get her ass hit hard.
Seriously.
Do you follow me in that? And see, people don't realize. People say, "Well, Doc, how can you speak to women that way?" Because you're entering male world and male things that you shouldn't. Vice versa. You know what's really funny is this: the feminine traits. You don't see me try to be feminine. I actually employ more women than I actually employ men. So let's make that very clear. And we use those traits to make them the best of the best at what they do that way. And see, and I won't be a silent majority. I'm like going, you put women in these places, you are actually not only hurting them, you're hurting society, you're hurting your business and things like that. You need to, and that's what I talk about. Don't be the silent majority. What's the worst can happen?
I don't get a job, or and the only
You'd be
reason I
surprised.
thought on that was because I chose to no longer be a part of that try to get into the program that I was getting into. And granted, I can even do more and speak out more, I'm sure. But that's the only reason I thought of it, is because I've at least pulled myself from it, I would say. So in part, that's doing something. But yeah.
Corey, you're gonna say something.
You're from Milwaukee?
Outside of Milwaukee, but the just outside, like Franklin, Muskego area.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was going to say get out.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So the testing that I'm talking about was for the city of Milwaukee.
Yeah. You don't want that.
Right, and that's so I've done a bunch of ride-alongs and talked with different firefighters right now, and they're all just getting out of there.
Plenty of other opportunities,
especially for
other
those
places,
reasons, because it's just like you'll get a preference points for just being located in the city, and the first thing I think about, why does that matter? Like why is that the standard in terms of?
Because they've screwed it up so badly that no one will go there.
Right. And all the questions asked in the interview were how you're going to treat minorities. And I get, there's certain parts of the cities that have minorities that you have to, if there's a Hispanic community, you need to be able to communicate with them better and treat them better. And I get that.
Wait, why are you treating them better?
Yeah, I by that. That's weird.
Yeah, I'd say no. There's this. Here's what happens. I don't know why they would say, how are you going to treat them if their life is in danger. I'm going to treat them if it's a male, female, black, white,
Right.
Yeah,
things
doesn't
like that.
matter.
But see, that's why I say, why would they? It's really sad that has infiltrated that way. But
Yeah.
once again, it's they're trying to cater to people that way.
Yeah.
So
Make sure you ask their pronouns before you resuscitate them.
Do black people's body parts, are they located in different spots? Or
No,
Some are just bigger than others.
dang.
It's like
That is a myth.
An apple.
no, yeah, but it was tiring. It just got it was annoying to me because I get we're trying to, especially when you're treating people, you want them to be comfortable, you want them to, because that'll ultimately help you if they're comfortable, especially as an EMT. But I was just waiting for a question that even was related to fire. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing that was related to it, and I'm like, okay, I'm woke, but what is that? I'm not what is that going to do for me? Like that. Me being woke.
You're
isn't gonna-
up. You're like
you don't
awake.
seem that
Yeah.
dumb
Yeah.
to call yourself woke.
No, but I'm saying the questions are based on okay, now I just proved to you I'm woke, and now I
Yeah.
can pull someone out of fire. What is that going to matter?
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
But see, here's what happens. We've seen this, and I believe and it comes back to this. How did it get so bad? Because people are distracted by the Packers. They're distracted by things that don't matter in their life. They're doing dumb shit that makes no difference in their life, but then they sit there and complain. See, I'm involved in politics for the purposes. I don't do anything that for my company that benefits. I'm actually the person that does stand up for freedom. When COVID hit, look at my history. I hired 3 civil liberties attorneys, and it cost me a ton of money. And I didn't get anything from it. I didn't benefit from it. I fought for people's freedoms. And then I had Ron Johnson's office call and all the people called because people will recognize the difference between good and evil. And my thing was, listen, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I'll tell you you're fucking stupid. I go through airports now. I'm like, and people wear it. I'm like, take that fucking stupid thing off. Well, no, Jason, you're dumb. You're an idiot. Do you say? Because they'll be the first ones yelling. Get this. So I'm at this is a great story. And I hope it offends a lot of people. Okay. I'm at Festival Foods because Festival did not Festival. Yeah, everybody knows the story. Festival did not require masks. So I walked in there. But see, as a human being, I'm okay if you're scared. I'm okay with that. I get it. I have no problem with that. And if you want to social distance or not go somewhere, I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. So as I was walking through a grocery store, I respect our human being just because as a person that loves Jesus, I'm like, okay, listen, we can disagree, but I'll still respect you as a human. So I'll stay 6 feet away from you. Do you say? And we can shop straight in a grocery store. And all of a sudden I'm checking out a grocery store and there's this obese woman just staring at me, just growling. She's got mask on, she got glasses on that way. And it's really funny because all of a sudden she just, I have my dark list there. At that time she's 13. I'm going through and I'm getting my groceries and all of a sudden I'm getting towards the end and she looks at me and she goes, I see you don't have a mask. And I responded and said, I see you don't have a treadmill.
Nice.
And she looked at me and I'm like, and I looked at it and then I walked right up to her face. And I said, you're the problem of why this is perpetuated that way. And looked at her shit, all shitty stuff, all sugar and stuff like that. And we all know, if you know anything about the immune system, forget even COVID, anything. You know, if you have diabetes, if you have other blood sugar issues, it's one of the biggest contributors to dying from an infection, all infections and stuff. And I'm like, and you're the problem. See, I won't become the silent majority. Because you ever notice, and you guys had any family members during COVID just lose their shit and so much fear that they're like, no, you can't come over to my house unless you have this. Fucking people, this is how dumb people are. Trying to hug their grandma through plastic.
Oh, I know.
But here's what happens this.
Cringe. So cringe.
I walked into the nursing home 5 times carrying a toolbox and told them, well, I'm here to fix the cable in room 12. Oh, okay.
Yep.
You know, let the cable guy in, no problem.
Yeah.
You know,
It's funny, isn't it?
People need to like just stand up to that kind of crap and say no, though. So my husband's appendix ruptured like September of 20. So like everybody's still very, 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 very fearful. And he had to be in the hospital for like a week because it was actually pretty bad. But I walked into that hospital twice a day and didn't put a mask on and they didn't yell at me.
Yeah.
Every time I just walked past them.
It was a joke.
No, but I think what happens, we're not teaching our young men, especially, to stand up and push against, evil, push against, it's everybody loves this. Everybody talks about freedom until you want to perpetuate, take away somebody else's freedom. I always said Republican Democrats only talk about the Constitution when they're not breaking it. It's always been a thing. I'm like, I've watched all the Republicans, I've watched all the Democrats. They're like, they're a Constitution. I'm like, you guys are just breaking it on other things. You just pick and choose what you want to pull from it that way. And that's why I love politicians that really vote for freedom. You understand? Because you're going to have that, and it's really easy to support those. So, all right. Any final thoughts on this topic? Because we're going to move to our next one
I'm surprised I'm the only one here that ever ate cat and dog.
Really?
Have you really?
You ever been to a Chinese restaurant?
Actually, I know a bunch of. It's really funny.
Americanized Chinese though.
It's very fair. How authentic is it around here?
So great discussion, as I say, and to reiterate our point that way. And so I ask everybody, don't be the silent majority anymore. That's it. I train my children, I train my team, I train everybody that way.
Yep.
Don't be a silent majority. You become part of the problem. If you truly believe something, go speak on it, stuff like that. And then if your ideas are right, you're going to watch people follow you. That's it. So I tell people, it's like, and it was kind of neat because one thing I was very proud about during COVID was the fact that people, all patients, everything came to our office and said, it's nice that it feels normal here. Mm-hmm. And all across the country, all my offices, I said, listen, if a government comes in and tells you to shut down or mask, you tell them, piss off, get out, we'll fight it in court. And you know that in all the things from Wisconsin to everything, and I donate a lot of money. I still donate money to people. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of jobs back from people that were fired that they wouldn't take a vaccine or they wouldn't wear a mask, of that, and they got back pay. We never lost one case in all of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. All documented, every lawsuit that way. And wrong, what did I get from it? A bill. Do you understand? because once again, you can, because I love money, because it can do a lot of good.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. So I want to get rid of the Christian bullshit about people saying the love of money. That's just, they fucking churches love money.
Well, they were the
It's a
first
business.
people on the screen when we were all locked down.
Yeah. Help us.
Every popular pastor that had some mega church or something was on there.
Joel Osteen. or
Yeah,
whatever.
there was all these guys on there, and then they'd bring in all these big time musicians, Christian musicians, and then of course it was donate to this and donate to that for hours and hours at a time. Yeah, so I mean they made bank off of it as well.
Oh, by far they did.
Yeah.
You saying it's like, and I always love the pastors that, they close down and then they beg for money because we got to play catch up and stuff like that. But no, actually, you know something? It's the churches that would have stayed open and stood up for what was right. They would have gained a bigger congregation.
Right.
Yeah, people would flock there.
They would have flocked there. See, that's what I say. And if you want to know if you're doing something right, when evil prevails, stand up and do it that way, because there is a lot of people. It takes one person. And see, so I'm a kind of person that says, listen, I want to train people enough to break and don't be a silent majority. You saying? So speak up. You saying you should tell your experience. Just tell your story. You know, saying they you have to have all these things when
They
it
didn't
comes
ask you anything about fire.
Yeah.
Tell
And
people that.
it's
Tell people that.
Only put out the woke fires, right?
Do you know that
Right.
every cop I talk to, they despise the aspect. Now you're gonna have one exception,
Right.
soy latte pussified male come out and say, I don't mind having a partner that's a female. That's because you've never been in battle yet. Do you saying? I don't mind if women are firefighters. That's because you actually have never had to carry anybody out of the house yet. You saying? And it's like, until, like I tell people, no one likes the warrior until the evil's at the door. Do you saying? And I'm like going, and when people give dumb things that way, I'm like, stop it, ladies, stop trying to be firefighters. You know what I'm saying? It's like, go do something else. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa. There's roles that we need to do, and there's take strength and endurance and some things that do it that way. And for the 6'5" woman that has muscles like a guy, it's the exception, not the rule.
Well, I wouldn't even have a problem with it if it was the same testing and they got through it, whatever. Like, then I know at least physically you're able to do that. I mean, it would probably hurt their health, that level of stress. But that wouldn't be a problem to me. But the idea of, like, something that could be life-saving, and now we're lowering standards for it, same with the military.
The military,
Right.
they've done it too.
Yeah.
It's like they have to do, like, the average military personnel can do, like, one pull-up. Like, come on,
Yep. It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all opinions on it. You guys ready for the next question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and this is going to be a total diversion, but see, all these topics that we cover this way. So this is more of a religious thing and stuff. That's what's going to be kind of fun. So here we go. And I'm not joking. This is something I so believe. I have 4 daughters, and we're going to talk about it just a short time, but here's what happens. Women should always change their last name when they get married. Let me say it again. Women should always change their last name when they get married. We're going to start with the ladies. Gary, what you think?
I don't know if I have an opinion. I don't know if does it. I don't
You
know
get
if
2 words. You
Okay.
get
Yes.
to say I agree or I disagree.
Okay.
There's no sitting on the fence on here.
All right.
I put a strong
I
boundary on
agree.
that.
I would say
Okay.
yes.
Jen?
I disagree.
Oh, ladies, sorry. I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
100% agree.
Okay, so we're going to start around Travis. We're going to start around you. We're going to go all the way around and to come to Dana.
So 2 become 1. Duh, right? But the man's supposed to be the head of the house. I always look at things as the guy does the big picture stuff, the woman does the small picture stuff. Both have value, but the man has to take a lot of the brunt that women don't, and the brunt that we take is different than yours. It's death, because we're the first of the door. We run to the danger, you run from it, take the kids and hide. We need to respect the men for that reason. I can go on much deeper than that, but just to keep it so we can finish tonight, the man deserves to have his last name. It's always been that way. It's not broken. We don't need to fix it. It's just part of this woke, BS going around there. Stop it. If my wife took, if she was Sarah Frisk Carr, it's stupid. There's nothing to it. Everyone knows you were previously Carr. You can say my last name was, who cares? Last name. Male's last name.
Corey?
I think traditionally it is the male of the household is going to be the provider, not that the female can't contribute, and that woman is going to give birth to those children, and that name is an extension of that union. So I think traditionally it needs to be the male's last name.
Carrie.
Yeah, well, I agree with both the guys. Biblically, it says a man will leave his mother and a woman leaves her home. So if you're leaving that home, you're not carrying that name anymore. You would take on your spouse's name. Same thing. You're having his children. You're doing all those things. So it logically makes sense that you would keep you would take that last name. You would give up your old name, take the new name.
Jen.
I think it depends on the woman. Like, I have taken the last name, but I think it depends what you have established for yourself and what, for instance, if your name is on the law firm and it's been that way for 20 years, you know what I mean? It would take a lot of logistics and a lot of problems to fix that. And I just think that it doesn't take anything away from respecting your man to retain that piece of your identity, if that makes sense for your personal situation.
Do you know what you just did right there?
What? The exception. Mm-hmm. But I'm just
no, not the exception. You said we don't think it takes away and disrespects a man, but you're a woman. How do you know that?
Well, that's my opinion on it.
Right, but you're a woman given a thing in the man's world on that.
Okay. And okay, I see what you're saying.
That'd be like
I would agree. I mean, if my wife kept her last name, I'd be like, no, that ain't happening. We ain't getting married.
No, I just think this. I'm never going to tell a woman how to be a woman. I just can't. I think that's why we a lot of people say, well, I should have an opinion. I'm like going, I shouldn't tell you how to be a woman. I don't even know how to be a woman, or that it shouldn't matter. Guys like going, it's not disrespectful. No, it is disrespectful. So, Kelton.
Yeah, I agreed. I think it's just because I believe that a man should be the leader of the household, and I think the biggest problem with this, and why I think a lot of people will fight it, is because for some reason we put negative connotations on the support a woman would provide, and so I think by making it the male's last name, that doesn't make the woman's job less important or less significant. So I think that, and I'm sure that was just created as a way to, have revolts and weaken males and stuff. So I just think that it's, as the head of the household, that should be the way that it is, and there's nothing wrong with the women or the feminine characteristics of the household.
Yeah, I agreed. And look, I agree with the head of the household and the leader thing. So I won't really, talk about that or anything, but come on, ladies. It's fun. It is fun to change your name. It is fun to sign a new name. It's fun to be called, your new name. It's fun to even stumble and say your last name and then say, oh crap, no, actually I got that wrong. This is my That's fun to do. And I can't understand why a woman wouldn't want to do that. Plus, on top of it, aren't you proud of him? Aren't you proud to take his name? I think that's a pretty big deal. And I think it is disrespectful if women don't do that, because you should be proud and want to be unified with the man that you are marrying. I mean, for crying out loud, that's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? And you know what? You brought up support. So we talk about the 3 M's for men on here, mind, muscle, and money. I think you already talked about that today. But then we talk about the 3 S's for women, and that's sexy, support, and serene. And so you touched on support there, and I think that ties into this nicely too. That's just another way of supporting him and being, his person.
So, got a question for you guys. And I'm going to pose this to everybody, but then I got a second question and pose to the ladies that way. Carrie, would you consider yourself an independent person?
Well, as a married person, no. I'm not
Corey,
independent.
Would you consider yourself independent?
Yes.
Travis?
Hell no.
Dana?
Sorry. Nope.
No.
Yes.
So, Corey, let's ask you because you said yes. You own a successful company, right, for some years?
Yeah.
Okay. You do every job?
I have. I don't do every job.
Do you do every job of every position, every part of the company?
No.
So you would say you're dependent?
No.
So tomorrow, every one of your employees, how many employees do you have?
I have 20.
Every one of them quit tomorrow. What happens to your company?
It stalls.
See, I think the concept of independence. Now, let me give you an example. As you start to, and then you're gonna like this one. As you start to make money and be successful, when you thought of a woman, what did you think then?
I thought about what did I think then?
Did you think that you didn't need her, or now you could support her?
Like when you started to make money in your
Yeah.
life, were you like, oh, I don't need a woman? Or were you like, oh, dang, I really want a family
I didn't
to
make
support?
any money without her.
No, but what I'm saying is this: here, watch this, and I'll give the thought, okay? And I see this all the time. When men start to make money, they start to go, man, now I can take care of a woman and a family. When today's woman says they start to make money, what's the response? I don't need a man.
Oh.
See, and so
I wouldn't have a nickel if it wasn't for my wife.
sure, but the idea is this. So you say then you're dependent.
Well, yeah, I guess to a point, but
And that's what
you
I'm
asked the question whether I'm
Yeah.
independent or not. If all my employees quit tomorrow and the business failed, I would still be who I am, and I'm going to still provide for my family in one way or the other. If that means I have to go out and become an employee, I will do that to become an employee.
So you'd be dependent on another person then for you to be an employee.
Sure.
See, we have to get this concept of independence. Now, remember, I didn't say that you're not an individual, but this concept that we're not dependent on other people is a big fallacy and stuff that way. And it comes from the standpoint of going, okay, listen, and now, ladies, I got a follow-up question for you, okay, in general. So, Jen and Carrie, okay. Now, once again, Carrie, obviously you're married and stuff like that. And Jen, are you married, single?
I am single.
Okay, so let's do this, but it's easy because you know your husband. So here we go. Would you want a man who's just say in general taller than you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes more money.
Yes.
Okay. More competent in ways of the world.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say even smarter.
Yes.
Okay. So who's the prize, you or him? Because by every qualification for the world, you want something better. So you want something better than you.
Patrick, do you want a woman who is taller or shorter than
Shorter.
you? I'm just saying. Do you want a woman who is fat or skinny?
Skinny.
Do you want a woman who is combative or brings you peace?
Peace.
Do you want her to be sexy at home?
Yeah. Sexy.
So who's the prize?
Who's the prize? Me, because they're more plentiful than I am. Because I can survive on my own. See, and the thing is, the reason I bring this up is going.
But I can't.
What's that?
But I can't.
No, you can't survive on your own. I said survive, but we're still dependent on people.
Okay.
See, that's what we're trying to do. See, the dependence that way that I want people to understand is when we look at dependence, people once again. When we look at the sexes that way, we're starting to see the culture shift and go. Women are trying to show as he even talked about woke, like they're independent from people that way. And I'm sitting there going, actually, individuals that of today, even in the past, we always knew we were dependent on each other. As a company, if my employees shut down tomorrow, I close down. Do you say? Now people say, well, you have enough money, you can go do your own thing. No, but as far as trying to accomplish something or do something or even live in society, I need those other people to go there. And I think that when you actually see people that way, you have no problem, let's say even submitting to your authority or even and doing the things. So for example, that's why I kind of bring up as far as like the male. You say, most males want to accomplish something and have a legacy. So therefore, that's why they want to build their what? Their relationships, their family, their teams that way. So something they could pass down. If you think about the majority, if I gave you, Jen, if I gave you $10 million tomorrow, okay, what would you do as far as life going forward?
I think at that point I would start my business, start what I want to do. And I mean, I'm already working at it, but I'm not making money at this point. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the same way. So I think that, but then I think, take care of the people I know.
Right.
Take care of the people that need it. And, help my
Corey,
family.
what would you do if I gave you $10 million tomorrow?
Reduce debt. Not sure. I don't have many wants.
I like that answer. That's a good answer. So, Carrie, what would you?
I'd find a way for my money to keep making money right away, and then I would obviously not, I wouldn't work. My goal then would be to go do good. I would want to go donate or volunteer or start this nonprofit or start this thing or that thing. That would be what drives me. If I can get that money to make money, which people know how to do that, obviously, then I have more coming, then I can do more. I don't want to say do more good, but I could do better things or help more people, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Nice. Kelton, what would you do?
I think what she said would be, try to figure out a way to make it last, especially because at the age I'm at, I mean, $10 million is a lot of money, but also it probably wouldn't. It can go fast too at the same time. So I think getting in a way to have it make more money and support my close community.
Travis, what would you?
Pay off my debt. I would make my money grow, and I would fight complacency, like with a David Goggins kind of mentality. And I would stay right where I'm at and probably invest more in opportunities and just enjoy the ride.
Dana?
Yeah, I was going to actually give a similar answer to you, that I would be investing that so that it could make me more money, and then I would also be investing it into some other people so that they could go out and do their thing, and then ultimately kind of also help me too, right? Like I'm on a mission to get a nanny in my house because I'm getting a little bogged down with household, or a cleaning lady or something like that, to even just help me out to make my life a little bit easier.
I always love hearing everybody's answers and stuff like that there.
How did I do it? Did I get an A?
I think that everybody's answer is great and stuff like that, because I always want to see what people want to do, and and sometimes males and females it's a little different answer. Older, younger, it's a little bit different answer that way. So I always like to see, because you'd be surprised that people start working towards what they really want. You say, and which I think is a wonderful thing. And my question always is, okay, what are you doing? So then, what are you doing now to do that? You saying? So I got a question for you, and it's topped by some of the things we talked about that way. So then, why do you think today, and because they did a survey and they said that 20% of women today don't think they need to take a man's last name. So why do you think that is? Carrie, why do you think that is today?
I think it's just society in general that over the course of history, things have shifted, right? So once upon a time, women, you got married, you stayed home, you were a stay-at-home mom, dad went to work, dad brought home the bacon, right? And then somehow when I was a kid in the 80s, all of a sudden it was, oh, well, you need to have a career and you need to become independent, and being a stay-at-home mom is stupid. That's a waste of your time, and whatever that is, all with a way to extract mom from the home, right? Mm-hmm. So now mom's not there, and then who is raising and teaching your children? Oh, well, we have public schools, so we'll put your child in school from whatever time you dump them off in the morning. I mean, there's kids who get dropped off at 6 a.m. as soon as a preschool program opens, and they don't get picked up till 6 o'clock at night. So who's actually, we sucked mom out of the home and all that sort of stuff. And I think somewhere in there, that independent mentality of, well, right, I don't need that name, I can do it all on my own. And then divorce rates started booming like crazy and things like that. So I think that's the demise of
So do you think then government rewards that behavior?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, Jen, why do you think that is at 20% of women?
Did you just ask if the government rewards the division of family?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's why I asked the question about being dependent or independent. It's like going, the dependency. And now here it happens in a family unit, and we're going to start here, Corey, on this way. And because I loved your answer too, that's why in a family unit, should the responsibility as far as money and providing be on the man or the woman?
In a family unit,
yep,
it's on the adults. So yeah. I think traditionally the man is the breadwinner, mm-hmm, but I wouldn't restrict a woman from contributing to that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the parents need to provide for the children. Right. Absolutely.
Right. Kelton, because you're young.
Yeah. I think that. Sorry, what was the question? Or how?
Which one do you think should be the? Which one do you think should be the responsible party for providing for a family, man or woman?
The man. He said it great. There's nothing wrong with a woman supporting it or whatever. But I think the idea of going away from a traditional family has done nothing but bad, because like I always say, like I can't, like I'll talk with my friends, like I can't wait to, you know, have kids, start a family, because then there's people that are dependent on me. So then like I'm not thinking about, oh, like my day was terrible, or oh, like this is happening. I think if people started to have, they're just thinking too much about themselves ultimately. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, same question, right? Or wait, are we doing the 20% thing, or are we doing the who provides thing?
Both.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, traditionally, obviously, you know, the man provides. And so, okay, I had 10,000 things down here, and now I can't even like read any of them.
Go for them.
But okay, so the core of the masculine is his mission and ultimately freedom, and the core of the feminine is intuition and radiance, which is really love. Okay, and so they each have their own thing, and they come together with that. So the core of the masculine is his mission. It is his mission to go out and conquer and provide and support for his family. That's not necessarily the core of the feminine, right? So the core of the masculine is doing that, and the core of the feminine is love, and it's also supporting the man who is doing that. So I think you need polarity in the sexes. I talk about this all the time. I'm going to do it until I'm blue in the face and everybody understands what I'm talking about here. But you need that polarity in order for relationships to work. And so if you're very masculine, then you need to have someone who is very feminine. 80% of relationships have a masculine man and they have a feminine woman. 10% of them, you know, they're balanced. And then another 10% of them, you know, the rare case of the feminine man and the masculine woman. But typically, we're talking masculine man and we're talking feminine woman. You need that polarity. You need that complementary opposite for things to work out. And we have become so incredibly depolarized in our society, right? So we have these men who are becoming a lot more feminine, right? That's the soy latte pussified beta males. And then you have these feminine women who are coming closer to center, and they're actually becoming more masculine. And I think part of the problem of them becoming more masculine is also probably then why they're deciding to keep their own name, because that's like a man thing, like, right? A man's not ever going to change his name. Like, that's extremely, extremely rare that he would ever take her name, or that the two of them would, you know, get a new name. So part of the problem here is the depolarization of the sexes.
Yeah, I know one guy who changed his name.
Do you?
One guy. And not only did his mother, but also his wife sometimes approach me and say, because I've known him since he was born, actually, say, can you get him off his dead butt and do something? Do you understand? Mm-hmm. And it's not a joke. And it's like, so you talk about that going, so
a real man's not going to change his name.
Well, on top of it, it's like, you know, a motivated man is not going to be like, okay, I'm just going to change my name. And no, he wants to represent something. Mm-hmm. So, Travis, what you got?
Well, I have a unique situation. My wife loves her job here, but if we weren't working here, I would say that I wish I was the breadwinner. She didn't have to work, and I could come home to a wife with a cutie outfit with some cookies and give her the best 30 seconds of her life.
Yeah. You're up to 30 seconds now. Good job.
Okay,
it's all the working out.
Here's right. I must be lying. 25 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're normally in the upper 20s.
Yeah.
And people ask us, they say, why do we discuss this stuff? Because here's what happens this. It gives an opportunity, because all of a sudden what happens is it's very confusing for young people today, because I do employ actually a lot of people that are in their early 20s and stuff like that, and they'll come to me and say, you know, hey, you know, and especially young career women. I said this: if my wife didn't want to take my last name, I don't care if we date, I don't care if she wouldn't do it, I would have broke up with her. And I even taught my daughters, I'm like going, if you want, you know, and it's been, I want my daughters to change their name. It's like, I want them, because I want the certain responsibility that guy has to protect and provide for her. Now, on the flip side, my daughter's following in my footsteps. My daughter actually has an opportunity to, as anybody, opportunity to do a career and things like that. But I'm actually, but I still want to put that responsibility of providing and protecting on who? The male. Man. You say, and so therefore, because as you said, Carrie, did you work when you had your kids, or did you stay home?
I worked.
Yeah. And if I gave you $10 million and you had that baby, what would you have done?
Oh, my butt would have been home every single
Jen,
day.
what about you?
Oh, I stay home now with my kids, yeah.
You saying? See, by nature, if you take away to where women don't have to enter that society and do things, I've never had a woman yet tell me, and we're talking very successful, even great business women. I've never had a woman call me and go, you know, I would just still go to work. Actually, every woman that works for me, I've asked them that question, and they're like, no, I'd stay home. And stuff like that. And it's really funny. Do you know what's really funny, though? But you know what they're worried about doing? telling people that because they feel to be shamed. Like, well, you don't. It's almost like being
That's
a stay-home
negative
mom
connotation.
is
Like
like
you're
a
lazy or
weakness,
something.
or like it's now looked at as like you don't want to be a career woman. But it's almost like the opposite has been shamed. Like being a mother is like, sorry, I was blessed. My mom stayed home, and we were poor. My mom stayed home for the first 5 years. She would not go into the workforce, even though we were very poor, until we were over 5 years old in school. And I can still tell you that it was a great thing and stuff. So
Or women will think it's insulting to say that they're better at, supporting the kid and being at home with the kid. Like, again, that's why I said, like, I don't know why there's a negative connotation to it. It shouldn't be that way, because just like I can name a list of things that I'll be better at, you can name a list of things that you're better at. And if staying home and raising a family or being with the kids more is a thing you're better at, that shouldn't have a negative connotation to it.
Well, if you pump those kind of ideas and you condition people that into society, though, then that will condition women to either wait to have kids or not have kids, and then they're older and stuff, and then it's probably harder to have kids, right? Because fertility is not getting better like anytime soon, right? And then that also gets them, maybe unmarried because they are a career person, and then maybe a man doesn't want them or isn't interested because they're, too boss bitchy or whatever it is. And then that also contributes to the whole depopulation thing, because now they're not having kids anymore. And there's research out there showing that banks are now investing into wine and cat food, because guess who's not getting married and having kids?
I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, meow mix. Eat the liver.
Let me ask you a question. This is a fun one. This is based off of this whole topic here. If the woman stayed home with the kids, didn't send them off to pre-K or 4K, do you think we would be in the position to have a bunch of freaking furries in high school? By the way, you got to change my litter box. Do you
Jen.
think we'd have these problems?
let's start with Jen.
Honestly, I'm not too versed on the furry thing. I've heard a
You
little
wanna
bit
explain?
about it, but I don't really know.
I can give you the 5-second version. Basically, a bunch of kids think that they are cats, and they are demanding litter boxes in certain schools. There's some not too far from this building that are having that issue. I don't know where they're at with it, but that was a real big thing the last couple of years. And these kids are just adamant that they're cats, and they don't want to go in the bathroom. They want to use litter boxes and all the things. I tried it a few times.
It's not a joke.
And schools even, I think, legally need to comply with that. Otherwise, they will have a battle on their hands.
I was not prepared to answer that question at all. I think any amount of time a child can spend in their own home, in their safe environment, learning with their mom or their dad, whoever's the primary caretaker, is going to benefit them for life in a multitude of ways. So I don't know that I can speak specifically on them wanting to be a cat and the psychology behind that, but I know that
It's crazy. That's what it is.
If they're securely attached and paid attention to all day long, you know what I mean, in an engaging way, and they're learning, I just think it will pay off in spades in their whole life. I was raised by a stay-at-home mom, and that's what made me want to be one too, and why I left the workforce for my kids is I do think it sets them up in a different way for their life.
So I got a question for everybody. Who's a better teacher, men or women? In general.
In general.
Women.
In my experience, women.
Dana?
Yeah, typically women.
Travis?
Women.
Corey?
Subject matter.
Okay. The reason why I bring this up is because, I put it this way, I'm going to lean for if it's a child and we're raising them, obviously I'm going to say a woman's going to do a much better job. But do you see how most people respond though? And I want to point this out. I personally believe, and you guys can give me I agree, I disagree on this. Well, we always make a statement, and people are so conditioned now to say, that but a man could do it too, or a woman could do it too. Did you notice your response when I said when you said this?
You
I'm like,
disclaim
why can't we
everything.
say that these people are just better at this? And yes, are there exceptions to the rule? Yes, but the rules are general. I mean, I think women are better teachers. I really do. I think they have things. And yes, if we're going to talk about, we get to high school, there might be other subject matters, things like that. But as far as like, let's say this, teaching in the home, who's better?
Well, I think there's a difference between teaching and coaching.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is patience in a lot of ways.
And who has more patience?
Women.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, and that's what what I always try to do with the podcast is like going and or Dana's videos or Travis is going to start doing some things. It's like it's okay to have roles. As a CEO of this company, I have a certain role, and I will tell you I'm really bad at other roles. So therefore, I'm dependent on people that are highly skilled, men or women, regardless of what the role is. And I will tell you this: the more creative team that we have in the company here, do you think it's dominated by men or women? Women. Leadership, conflict. Who's better at that? Men. Do you say?
Yeah.
And see, a lot of people say, but women can do it. See, no, just say let's better, and then we can talk about the exceptions. There are some women that can be great at conflict, but you know, it's really funny. I've asked these women, there's a good conflict. They said they learned young because they had to. It's like a mom that raises the kids without a dad. Mm-hmm. They have to be both what?
Mom and dad, masculine and feminine.
Now watch this though. You always hear that the mom has to take on the masculine role. You never hear single dads have to take on the female role. You ever notice that? Because the masculine trait can lead those kids up differently, and they don't have to take on a lot of feminine roles to exist. But if they're going to go to society, they have to have a woman sometimes teaching them some masculine roles that way and stuff. So what we're going to do is this. We talked about this. We're going to add one more question in because I believe it's something that we could run on a little bit. And Corey and Kelton, you guys are going to answer first on this one and stuff. And then we're going to go with Travis. We're going to go with the guys first. And then ladies, we're going to go back to this because I think there's going to be a difference on this. And I think it's going to be great. But Kelton and Corey, you guys talking about football. So here we go. The NFL should get rid of the taunting penalty. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Hell yeah, I agree.
I'm coming back to Kelton on there because he paused a little bit
You
there.
paused a little long for my comfort.
And then we're going to no, watch this. Let's do this. Let's get the ladies, and then we'll come back to you.
on.
So Jen, what do you think?
I'm assuming that's for making fun of the other team.
Yes.
Is that what taunting
Yeah,
is?
taunting.
NFL
Unsportsmanlike
should get
conduct is what they
rid of
call
the
it.
taunting penalty. I disagree.
Okay.
Just so I can clarify. There's actually a penalty for taunting.
Yes.
Yeah, like
happened the other day.
standing over
A guy
them.
did-
I think the belt
As a player?
Yeah.
Yeah, like on the field.
Like if you sack the quarterback and
Yeah,
you
and then
spend
you're
too much time
talking smack
celebrating.
at
Or even just a
Yeah.
certain gesture.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay. And there's a penalty for that?
15 yards.
And you're
Is it
saying get
new?
rid of the penalty.
they've done it for a
like
long
allow
period of
them
time.
to taunt each other.
Yeah, there is a penalty, and he's
Okay.
saying
I
get
would
rid
say
of it.
get rid of the penalty. That's
Okay.
stupid.
So you disagree with it? Okay.
No,
Yeah.
she agrees.
No, I say get rid of the
Yeah, okay.
penalty.
Yeah,
So you
she
agree.
agrees
Okay,
with the
okay.
statement. Yeah,
Dana?
I strongly agree.
Okay, Kelton, you pause for a second. Then
Yeah.
we're going to Jen, and then we're gonna have the rest of them.
And this
And then-
this could fall into the exception, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I would want to eliminate the rule. The only thing I could see with eliminating the rule is games could get dragged on longer. It could lead to more fights, which would again drag. You know what I'm saying? So I think it could lead to it straying away from football. And I think if there was no penalty, who knows how much people would do. And I mean, if the benches are clearing every other play, you're not going to get a game in.
But there'd be more people watching.
Oh yeah.
Right.
There'd be
And
more.
you'd find
more
out who was
people
the
watching.
strongest one on the
But
field
then
real
I'd
quick, and you
probably
wouldn't mess
watch.
with that.
Yeah, I'd probably watch this for the fights.
I'd be a doctor I was watching.
You would spend 3 hours on a Sunday then.
I would definitely have to do some work while I watch it.
In between plays and in between taunts, just do your emails quick.
But then I would say just watch, MMA or watch fighting because I would be on board with loosening it maybe, but I just think it could lead to not football at that point.
I forgot what the question was.
Yeah.
The NFL should get rid of the taunting penalty.
Yeah, right. It's just you're playing football. You're not playing tiddlywinks. Right.
My turn.
Yes.
All right. So, some of my favorite player of all time is Favre. Okay, back when football was still football, before all these rules came in. Anyways, I look at Barry Sanders. What a wonderful example. He scored every time. He always gave the ball back to the ref. Cool. That's respect. Jerry Rice, very very similar. Right? Professional, look good, play good. That was her mentality. But my favorite play of all time is Deion Sanders playing 1 year with the San Francisco 49ers, and he was the best D-back, and he is the best D-back of all time. But he's playing against his former team, the Falcons, and he picks that ball off in the end zone, and he is 10 times faster than everybody else. He's high-stepping at the 40-yard line. I'm talking the previous 40-yard line, not his 40-yard line. And he's looking at his entire former team. Like, I told your ass. He's getting what? He's taunting. He's running straight, looking at them. I'm like, hell yeah, that was so cool. I mean, it was the coolest play ever. He picked off. I mean, it was phenomenal. I love that. I wouldn't have loved that play if he didn't taunt. Another one will be Aaron Rodgers. We talked about this in the ADP a couple of years ago when he goes, "I own you" to the Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, he owns you, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I still own you.
he owns you. It spices up the football rivalry. I love that. Look at Duke and Carolina, the same thing in college. And you need taunting. You need adrenaline. You need that testosterone. And because you just like Michael Jordan fed on anyone talking shit to him. I love that. I'm the same way. Yeah, that's why I never talk shit to him. I understand he won't like that. His competitive testosterone.
Yeah.
You gotta have. I mean, and you said, and I gotta say this. I'm sorry. You said the taunting is, if it's regulated, sure. There was never any regulation in the 60s and the 70s. And you watch those guys, and my wife and I, when they first aired Super Bowl I a few years back, right, when they finally aired it, because they finally got rights to it. There was shit going on after every single play. I'm like, I'll watch 4 hours instead of 3 hours of this. This is great. It's like watching hockey fights, on top of football. Yeah. But that's just my perspective.
Yeah, and that's where I see, like, you describing what Deion Sanders did. If I was the referee, I'm not throwing the flag on that. That's where I would see loosening the penalty as something that I would do.
So how loose?
Yeah, right, and that's the thing is I would rather have it be erased rather than not be able to find middle ground. So because especially in the sports that I played growing up and stuff, I was always someone to be talking a lot, and I liked physicality. I liked to be up in their face and stuff. I could just see like I said, if they're sacking them and they're sitting on their face taunting them, then now all of a sudden the linemen are coming over and they're defending their quarterback, and then all of a sudden it's a full out brawl. So that's the only thing where I could see if there was absolutely no regulation on it, what if it just keeps going bad and it just keeps leading to all out.
Let's do this though, and since we have a businessman and a politician here, and this is why it's important. Once again, I love politics, and I had a very good senator on here before, and I asked him about this: do you ever notice that there's always a reason to regulate something? Regulating taunting penalties, no other than regulating people's speech, regulation, and it's always protection of something. Anytime a politician tells me they need to protect me, you've lost me, because when does it stop? And who gets to decide? Here, we're going to regulate this because, do you understand, if you ever want to understand freedom, you can't have regulation. You have laws that obviously stop people from killing each other. But the idea is this, because the minute that they talk about protecting, we got to protect the game. It's no different than when a person comes to me and says, something, we need to, and this is not a joke, this happened, and I fought it too. They passed a bill to say we need to license hairstylists to protect women from having damage from a bad what? Hairstylist. You know what I'm saying? And and then we always do this, and I said this, and it was kind of funny. It was like, government should not be involved in healthcare. And the response was, well, we need to protect the citizens. That's not true. So how much protection you go? We saw what happened over the last 3 years. We're trying to protect all you guys from COVID. We're going to lock you down. We're going to do things like this. See, the concept of it, exactly, the concept of taunting is no different than regulating. I guarantee if I asked every one of you guys, should you regulate peace and speech, what they could say? No, we got freedom of speech. And they say, well, it's integrity. Well, it's the same concept of everything that way. Yeah. And so therefore it's like, guess what happened? It would be interesting. I think I disagree with on this aspect, that you wouldn't have to regulate taunting, because here's what happens: this. Let's say it did clear a bench. The one that would taunt would be more scared of taunting because the market would dictate what happened because you would be worried about a whole team coming after you.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Let the market decide it,
Yeah.
not protection of it that way. For example, as a capitalist, and once again, that's where the mistake comes in with Republicans and crony capitalism and stuff of this is, it's really funny. As a capitalist, let's do this. You're trying to start a business, right? Fitness.
Yeah.
Okay. And Corey, what's your business? Recycling. Okay. So therefore, here's what happens. In any capitalist, and that's why people don't understand capitalism. In any capitalist, here's what happens. If you offer a valuable service, the person you give it to, what are they going to say to you?
If they're offering me a service?
No, you offered your service to them and you did it well to them. And what did they say to you?
Thank you.
Thank you. And then they're going to now give, because they wanted your service, and now they're going to exchange the value, and the value's based, what's the value they're going to give you? Money.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
money. And what do you say to them?
Thank you.
In a true capitalist society, it's thank you, thank you. Everything. If it's ever thank you, you're welcome, it's fucked. And that's usually government. Do you know why? Because in capitalism, value has to be exchanged. Watch this. Ladies, here's what happens. Think about this. Funny example, but it's really good. Let's say this. You have sex with your man. And he finishes and you don't. He's like, oh, thank you, honey. You're like, you're welcome. What happens if that goes on for a year? I know it's funny, but you're like, fuck this. I'm not doing that shit anymore. There's no value. Look at even Sarah's like, here's my ring.
Yeah. Not fuck this.
Yeah, not fuck this. No, but get my point though.
You are happy though, right?
That's right. What she can do in 30 seconds is amazing.
Right? Yeah.
No, but think
Come
about
on,
that.
30 seconds, girl.
That's the thing. It's
That's
like,
easy.
and how many times, when was the last time you said thank you to the government? Do you understand? See, they add very little value and stuff, and that's why things have to be put up that way. So as I tell people, it's like going, it can be anytime they try to regulate something for your protection, no, let the market. You know something? Because let's say Deion Sanders was taunting somebody, and all of a sudden it's going to play itself out. That team comes that way. Every other football player is going to see that and go, maybe I'm going to watch my taunting based on the thing that way, because a whole team is going to come up, 300-pound guys that come whip my ass, and Deion Sanders at that time was 180, 190 pounds.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, then you regulate yourself.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, I used to play a lot of competitive like football in the top leagues around here. We won a few years in a row the championship, and this one team we should have beat. The guy, I was on the sidelines just getting a breather. I played the whole game, and he ran right past me and said, "Fuck you, we're going to the championship." I had an emotional response, and I chucked him. And afterwards, I usually keep my cool right now. I'll save it for the next game. But we shook hands, and I didn't want to shake his hand. He grabbed me. He goes, "Hey, you don't like it? Beat me."
Mm-hmm.
The best way to shut somebody up, like I own you, with Aaron Rodgers, is beat him. We talked about this before too. It's like the best revenge is to beat him.
Yeah.
And that, so it goes both ways.
And a competitive nature. The Green Bay fans, when Aaron Rodgers did that, what did they do?
Well, they loved it.
They loved it.
Nobody
The
was
Chicago
complaining about that.
people cried like little bitches because it's like, well, no. If you love competitive, do you know what's really funny? How many guys root for the underdog?
I do.
Oh, boy, well, think this way. Why would you?
Because I was the underdog.
In what way?
I was an independent trying to break into an industry that was dominated by bigger companies.
So why would you think you're an underdog? There's ways of actually competing. So we have to
Well, I
think about
did
it
compete,
less.
so-
Thank you. So you weren't the underdog. You actually looked and you actually became a thing to them that
that's
way.
a play on words.
No, it's not. No, but see, there's this. We do this all the time. We always, because here's what happens. When you support the underdog, it's like doing this. It's being a feminine characteristic, saying, I'm going to root for, I want everybody to have a chance at this. No, if you're the best, go out there and prove it. Go out and do it. It's not. You're not rooting for the underdog. You're saying you actually. It's the totally opposite. When people root for the
How do
underdog,
you know that the underdog's not the best?
it's very simple. It'll play its way out.
Right, but why can't I root
Yeah.
for him?
But they're not, that means they're not the underdog, though. See, that's like when people they're like, oh, watch this. How many people rooted against Tom Brady?
I did.
Yeah,
I think he was a dick.
Out of jealousy, I did it. But
Dick,
back in the
he
day-
won.
Exactly. Out of jealousy.
He won.
It actually was good.
A little
He
bit
won.
when I-
Yeah.
yeah.
He won. It's like here's what happens. and the support of everything. Let me ask you a question, ladies. Do you want the best husband, or you want the worst husband? I know, so it's funny. Everything that people want in their life is the best. And it's like, but in society, we've gone, okay, listen, we have to give the person a chance. We have to root for the person that's not as good. I'm like, I'm not going to root for the person that's not good. I'm going to root for the best of the best of the best. And that's who I want on my team. In every area of life, you like that. But it's like, but then it's like, when it comes to conversation, it's like, but no, we don't want
what
this.
What you want and what you root for are two separate things.
Well, that's not true. You still want them to win. And it's like,
why wouldn't you want someone who has, less opportunity and has made their way? Say you've got someone that's competing in a basketball tournament. They're getting to the quarterfinals, and it's the smallest school. I mean, the Hickory, right? Why wouldn't you root for Hickory at the state championship in Indiana basketball?
I just want to see the best people and succeed, and best people to win, best people to play.
So do I, but why wouldn't you root for them?
I don't want to. I said I want to root for the people that are, once again, that determination, the competition.
They have the determination to get there.
Yeah, and they can. And if they prove themselves, but it doesn't mean they're an underdog then. See, that's why I like competition.
They're an underdog if they're a small school versus schools that have more kids to choose from.
Well, they could be an underdog as far as their selection, but they can also have an opportunity if they put their skilled people or the person that outworks the next person. And I look at the fact that going, if we're always pulling for the underdog, we're saying the people that are the best and the people, the schools that are best at recruiting, is people that can offer the best. It's like, guess what happens? Which one's best for society?
I understand what you're trying to say, but
yeah.
I'd see them in two separate issues. I mean,
they're when you relate to real life, you'd go, okay, you're right. I wouldn't want to. I want the best of the people in all the aspects of my life from everything that way. And that's what I'm trying to get to people that going, because I want people to be congruent. Do you saying? It's like the people that are saying, I live paycheck to paycheck, but I want to watch Packers. I'm sorry, because you know what happens? Because you know what it comes down to?
Well, those are choices that they made.
But that's my point.
Yeah,
it comes to a choice to where all of a sudden it goes, a person like me that looks at the world differently and works towards that way, they're the kind of people who say, and you see in politics, they want me to pay more tax than them. Why? Because I made different choices?
Oh, yeah.
See, no, that's the point. It's because it's all related. That's what I'm trying to show people. It's like that mindset. So I want people, like I said, and when we talk to you, Jen, saying, listen, I have no problem if you know what's really funny? You're going to find this funny. I actually love Bernie Sanders. Okay? Would I ever vote for him? Would I ever want to support him? Absolutely not. But I love that he's so congruent in his thinking. It's wrong in every way. You saying? But there's no mixed messages with him. Do you understand?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
See,
he's very sure of himself.
that's the one on the top of it, and he's like, I want comment, I want this, and it's like going. That's why people like him, and then he appeals to mainly who, men or women?
I would assume women.
Women.
Yeah.
By far, and because women are so involved in politics, showing up school boards, they're the people that do it that way. Compared to the average men, unless he's
soy latte pussified beta male.
that they're not gonna vote for him. You saying?
You say that so fast.
I know, so smooth.
But see, and that's why, Jen, it's like going, some of the qualities that you told me that were this, and like going, and I'm like, and then they go to see, it's very easy to vote for somebody like you. You understand? You'd be my first choice. Because why? See, I always said this, and this is the perfect example. I always said that there should never. Now, here's what happens. I'll see if you want to disagree or agree on this. I personally don't believe that anybody should be allowed in office unless they have owned a business. Because here's what happens. We always hear about this all the time. We're in a deficit. Let me see a question. If you ran your company in a deficit for 2 years, what would happen to your company?
It wouldn't exist.
That's my point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why would we let dumb people that have never came fucking balance a checkbook into politics, in school boards?
Yeah,
we do. That's the point. And see,
anybody can be a politician.
Yeah.
You just got to win an election.
You just got to win.
There's no test.
You just got to win a motion.
Right.
There's no woke test?
Yeah.
More test.
See, and that's the congruency.
Well, not for my side.
And so when people start to think about the things I'm saying, I'm just like, okay, yes, they start to act and live and talk more congruently that way. And now it's not confusing for people. It's not confusing for young people. It's like, I love freedom, but I voted for Biden. No, give a point though. It's like, I want to keep my independence. I want to keep my own money. I want to keep my own healthcare choices, but I'm going to vote for Biden. You can't do, I love this. This is me personally, and then we can see since everybody said they're religious here, and so that or have some form of faith. I'm a Christian, and I'm against abortion, but I'm a support Joe Biden or a Democrat.
Oh, shit. Right.
I'm sorry, you dumbasses.
Yeah. We are aligned closely there.
I know we are.
Yeah.
See, we are very aligned.
Yeah.
See, that's why. But here, as my generation, your generation, challenge each other. We should be able to have the conversations like this and go, maybe you're right, and this is, and I've learned some things from you tonight. I've learned some things earlier that night, and that's why we can have these discussions and push back on each other. So now going forward, we can all articulate, because here's what happens. This conversation we all had today, what does it do to society? It actually makes it better. Because now, maybe Kelton now is going to go out there tomorrow and go, stop this dumb fucking shit.
Stop the taunting.
No, it's this.
No.
Stop the dumb shit as far as like, I want another strong male next to me, and I'm going to be the best firefighter. It doesn't matter what I believe in my owners is. I'm there to help somebody. Fuck you. Shut up. I want to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And it's like going, the whole idea of being able to articulate all these ideas together is to empower people to now go, and then guess what? See, because I'm like you. But I've been asked. I've been literally begged, and my wife's right there, to be in politics. Because why? Because I've proven I have a track record of doing good with my money and things like that, and I want to fight for it. And actually, you know what's really funny? I want to fight for somebody to eat McDonald's, take every vaccine, do stuff like that, even though I don't agree with this stuff. But I believe in freedom. I believe in freedom. And so the idea is this, and then if you look at politics of old, that's how George Washington was chosen. He didn't want to be president. Look at our history. I'm a big history buff. I love history. It's like there was people, like you said, today all you have to do is create an emotional argument, and it's usually appealing to women. I'm going to give you something, and you're going to give it for free, and therefore it's like going, okay, and that's why you see dumb people in politics. It's harder to get up and say, you're a dumbass, take some self-responsibility. Well, I want to vote for that guy. Do you understand?
Right.
So I believe that our conversations allow us to go out and empower people, empower each. But it starts in a small group, like
Dunbar's number?
Dunbar's number. Explain.
So Dunbar's number is this theory behind how many people would make like an ideal community, which we kind of were talking about before, right? That the further you get away, then you don't care about the people who are more toward the middle. So Dunbar's number, it's about 150. I think it's technically 142, and has been deemed kind of like the perfect community size because it's enough people that you can survive and have everything that you need. But it's a small enough group of people because when you know everybody around you and you know them well, you don't wrong those people. So it's a good like tribe number, and we're very, very far away from it, right? Like I said before, there are people way up in politics who are making these decisions that are affecting things way, way downstream that they will never see the consequences of and don't care because they don't know those people.
Do you know that when our country started, do you know that everybody had the right to vote, right? And I'm not just talking men or women. There's men that didn't have the right to vote too. And does anybody know how they based on who got the vote when our country first started was?
Land ownership.
You had to be a landowner. Because they said, now you have a responsibility to your community and everything around you, and now you have it. And I do believe that I'm personal in this way. I'm okay with people have the right to vote. I think most people are incompetent and shouldn't vote and stuff like that. That's just my personal opinion and stuff. And like I said, but and the idea is this. So, but you had a responsibility. So I'm a landowner. That means I have to tend to this. I got to do these things that way. And so now going forward, we now can make all the other landowners better, and that's what community was, and that's why. And people don't realize this. I think local politics are 100 times more important than presidential elections.
Oh, for sure.
I actually have to say this. I've been waiting for you to bring this back up for a long time. I think everybody, when they hit 18, should have to pass a test. You got to understand the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the amendments, everything, the whole thing. You get to understand it, maybe not ace it, but have a good, firm foundation and understanding of what this country's founded on. And most people don't. What they do is they listen to, I will remember
Corey,
single moms, pay their way, help them.
Corey, what you got?
Kind of like an immigration test?
Yes, I was thinking just very much like that as well.
But somebody has to teach it then.
Yes.
Nobody teaches that anymore.
And they have
I
to
can
legally cross,
verify
too.
that.
No. Let me see a question. Kelton, do you want to have a wife and family someday?
I do.
So this is just me. This is me once again. It's just an idea. And I would like to hear your guys' feedback this way. You said this, and Carrie, you stimulate with thought that way. And remember, that's one thing I love with podcasts. You guys stimulate great thought that way. Is, if you choose to get married, then guess what happens? I always said that, do you ever notice that when you actually get married and the outfit you wore can be the same thing you wear to a funeral? Do you ever say it's not the same for a woman? Because I always say men have to choose to let things die when they take different stages of life. You understand? So you're gonna get married, die off those old ways in order to move forward that way. Okay. And coming back to your point on these things, who needs to teach him? If he doesn't want to let some of those things die off and still wants to watch a Bears game and doesn't spend time with his wife, what's going to happen to that relationship with your wife?
It's going to die off.
Because and see, here's what happens is because and if he wanted to do it, he said he shouldn't have got married. So I say this. So I tell people, say, well, I want to get married. Well, then there's a responsibility you have. Now, on the flip side, have kids. Mm-hmm. People say, well, I don't have time to teach them. They don't have kids.
100%. Yep.
Do you see, we always play by, well, I got to do this. I'm like, you chose to get married. You chose to have kids. You automatically have to, and that's why men say, I'm giving up something. No. You're going up, and you can't have the same childish ways of everything's about you. When if you want that way, it's cool. Stay single. And see, that's when people say, well, we're going to yell at the schools. They're not teaching them. It's like going, no, I believe that schools should have a certain responsibility. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't want to teach your kids, then don't have them. Mm-hmm. Because watch this. In 3 hours, could you start teaching how many weeks of NFL are there? How much bullshit?
17 plus preseason and playoffs. And
okay, so what, 20 weeks or so?
Yeah, I'll say give or take.
So 60 hours could you teach your kids the Constitution? That's just for one Bears game, every single for 20 weeks. Could you teach them how important voting is and politics are and how to? See, that's what I tell people. See, that's why I said time is the most important thing. I just don't want people to waste it that way and distract themselves because we have a responsibility. I have a responsibility as a husband. I have a responsibility as a father. I have a responsibility as a CEO. I have a responsibility, and that's why I choose my time wisely that way.
Yeah, if you teach them that way, you know what's going to happen? They'll be high-stepping their way to work and back, taunting, going, look all the money I'm bringing in. Because I paid attention to my daddy giving me politics.
Raise a bunch of Deion Sanders.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which Deion Sanders a what? A winner.
A winner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Colorado's not doing good right now.
Yes.
But yeah.
But here, watch this though. But I don't watch any games, but I love watching successful people. 3 years they'll be a national championship, because winners attract other winners. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. And you right now all the college coaches are scared. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll call Colorado, they'll look at it, and here's what happens. And now look at all the people are doing to Deion Sanders. They're tearing on him like crazy because all the recruits want to come play for him. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, I sit there and go, he's a winner. He support him. You know what I'm saying? And see, they look at Colorado as the underdog in a lot of things right now. So there's a lot of people support him. Watch what happens when Colorado becomes number one.
The next New England.
They're gonna hate them.
Mm-hmm. The next Alabama.
They're already predicting it, so they're trying to hate on them right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what's really funny? Corey, can you do me a favor on this? Just because obviously you have some life experience and some things like this in business, and you've been successful. Seems like you started from scratch and things like that. Okay. Which is much tougher than coming in the middle of something that way. It always is. Okay. I started on $500 and stuff. But here's the point. Did you have any experiences in your life, and this happens to a lot of business owners, and it surprises people, that when you went out there and said, okay, I'm going to do this, there was a lot of people that encouraged you? Would you say that?
Sure.
Did you see this happening in my life too, and a lot of business owners experience this? Did you notice that all of a sudden, when you hit a certain level and you started to do well, that some of those people that encourage you, because now you went out and got your dreams, did something that some people weren't rooting for anymore because
sure
you made them
You're
go
no longer
like,
the underdog.
That's my point. Mm-hmm. See, because now they're like, and see, that's the point. There's a lot of people that will support your success until you become more successful than them. Then you make them feel inadequate because they could have kept on going. They didn't. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's humans.
I know. But see, that's the thing. It's like, and I prepare, so once again, as a young man, right now, you're 19, you ain't got shit, stuff like this, and you're going to go out and they're like, Kelton, you go do it. And then when you go do it and you out-surpass people, they're not going to be that encouraging anymore.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And but see, I think that's where I'm not going to watch a Packer game. I'm going to prepare the young people. I'm going to prepare my friends. I'm going to prepare for people this. So then when they get there, like you talk about this way, life doesn't hurt as much anymore because you're prepared. I tell business owners, guess what happens? You could do something really good, and 50% of the world is going to fucking hate you.
It's true.
You saying? No. I'm doing something good. Here, watch this. You said on social media, you could post something really well and do something that way. And there's going to be 50%. There's always good and evil and stuff that are going to hate you.
Probably more evil than good.
Well,
especially on social media, you know.
Well, but once again, and so start watching these things and see, and what it does by even bringing it up. You know what's really funny? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can honestly tell you, I've had 25 years of growth, which is really rare in business. Okay, but here's the point. I can honestly tell you that there's been times where I'm like, even in sports, when I was playing sports, that somebody was younger and surpassed me, and I was like, damn it, he hated it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But then I was like but what I did is I flipped my mindset that way and go, no, he just beat me. Either I have to become more competitive with him, outwork him, do things like that, or realize that there are people that have natural God-given gifts. Sorry, I could shoot a free throw every single day, and I could play basketball, but not going to ever be Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
not going to be Stephen Curry. You know.
I think that stems probably from the idea of like coddling, you know, and feeling like bad for people's emotions because you don't want to say what you're actually thinking and stuff because if you don't have people that like when you fail or whatever, if you don't have people that are running your side and saying, oh poor guy, you know, like you can do this. If you have that, then you're complacent there because you just got gratification from failing. And so I think that if people are being more if they disagree more, you know, and they actually say it and they say what they're thinking and they don't do everything just to please emotions, then it'll ultimately have a good response, especially in a setting like that.
Well, that's why I believe our podcast has done so well, because we can even agree on a subject and even have some similar values, but we can challenge each other's thinking of it and work some things out to get better and more articulate on it that way. You see, and that's the great thing about it. And you're going to find out that people have a lot of similarities on a lot of things. You know, it's very easy for me to speak on healthcare because I ask one question. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat. I even have a doctor that is actually kind of a communist and is a true Bernie Sanders fan. Not a joke. And I love him like a brother. But because here's what happens. I'll say this. I'll say, who should make the healthcare decisions for you and your family? You or the government? See, not one person has ever said to me, the government. Then why did you act the way you did over the last 3 years? But then second of all, my buddy will say, well, I should make a decision for my son, but I want the government to pay for it. Well, that's a whole other topic. We can debate that, but let's start articulating these things first. So, that being said, guys, what we're going to do is this. We're going to give some final thoughts. So, Carrie, we're going to start with you. We're going to come around. We're going to end with Jen. And what I want you guys to do is this, is final thoughts on stuff that we discussed, some opinions or comments you didn't get to make, or just what you've experienced today.
I think that a lot of the subjects we talked about are just people aren't educated anymore. Like they just don't know whether that's their parents' job, the school's job, whatever it is. Like I said, having taught for 26 years in 3 different regions of the country and then watching different presidents get into office and all that sort of stuff. Education is so dumbed down and so watered down now that children aren't taught to think. They're taught what to think. They're not, or any of that sort of stuff. It's just a very different animal than it was when I was a kid, or my father, if I talked to him, or my grandparents, if I had talked to them. So I think that whether it's, are you a boy or a girl? Are you, the husband of the head of the house? All those things, society's slowly been stripped down, and a lot of it has to do with the lack of education that they have. If I'm not educated, I can't make an informed decision, or I just don't know. So I think that's a big source of the problem.
Nice. Great views, Carrie. Thank you for being here. Corey.
Very interesting experience. I'm a little taken aback with people think that our state government is crooked, or there's backroom deals. I've not experienced that. I must be missing out on something. But I haven't seen that. I don't believe that goes on. I think that it's a difficult job. I think that humans are hard to manage. And, I really agree with what you said. If you want something, why are you acting the way you have? Give me a different governor and we'll get a lot more done. So, thank you.
Yes. And remind what district you're in? Because like I said, because I have pretty good influence that way, and I like you. So if I like you, a lot of people vote for you. Okay. So what district?
The 29th. That Sawyer, Rusk, Taylor, and Marathon County. Little piece of Wood County.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for being here.
I'd vote for you.
So would I.
Yep. So I just want to thank you all for being here. This has been a blessing. Just sitting here, you get the plethora of people coming in and out throughout the weeks, but you guys are definitely fun. So if we get back to just being conservative again and just figuring stuff out, what men be men, women be women, I think we'd be in a much better spot. I don't have a lot to say. I don't, and that's kind of funny. But I want to see you utilize your time more. You keep grinding. I see a big future for you. I loved your perspectives on things, Jen. That was awesome. It's important to have those things in this discussion. Otherwise, it's just an agreement. It's a I agree podcast, and it can't just be that. So, I guess I'll summarize it in this: don't be quiet. We got here because we're quiet. Just got my final thought. There it is. Don't be quiet, otherwise we're going to keep going in this direction. Because there's a lot of loudmouth biatches out there that are teaching our kids wrong. I'm sure there's some men out there. There's one in a local place here where that's a whole discussion. Anyways, so it's both genders, but my point is this: don't be quiet. Otherwise, somebody who has evil intentions, whether they think they are or not, is going to take care of your kids and deal with them instead of you. So stand up wherever you live, fight the good fight. Get the hell out of Milwaukee. Brown County could use some good firefighters, okay? And just keep grinding.
Dana.
So do I have to wrap up, or can I say what I was going to say about taunting? Because we never actually got to me.
Oh, you can say everything. You can say whatever you did not get.
I actually had things I was going to say.
Whatever
I was just waiting for to keep going.
Remember, the whole idea is
still going around.
Yeah, the whole idea is whatever you want to finish on, you can do it even you got 10 minutes of taunting stuff. Go for it.
I probably could come up with 10 minutes of taunting things. No, the only thing that I was going to say obviously I agreed with that statement. But the main thing I was going to say about it, I guess, is first of all, it just kind of sounds like a rule that a bunch of women were sitting around and made up because they saw men having a bunch of fun and they wanted to ruin it and make it the No Fun League. It's kind of what I think.
That's what it's called now, No Fun League.
I know. And I remember when the taunting penalty came out because they started calling it that at that point. But just to kind of go a little bit deep on what I was going to say about that whole thing is it's just another thing to demoralize men. Like, men are competitive and they are aggressive, and they're going to taunt each other when they do something awesome. So taking that away from them just really goes against nature, and that just really annoys the piss out of me. And
good perspective.
Yes.
No, it's a joke.
And the league claims that they have this penalty because they don't want ill will between teams and between players, but it's sports.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
So it's going to happen. This is what sports is made of. This is how rivalries are built. They're trying to beat each other. So what do you actually think is going to, yeah, exactly. What do you think is going to happen? Plus, they're men. They're going to be over it by the end of the game. It's not women who are going to talk about it 17 times in the next 34 years. Come on. And I think
true.
Well, exactly. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're a co-host.
And one of the big things with that too is just that penalty is based on emotion and not based on fact, and it's subjective, and the ref gets to decide what it is in every game, because that's why players, we see them get away with one thing one game and not get away with something the other game, and that's just completely insane. There shouldn't be subjectivity in this. We should just let the men play. That's what I was going to say about that. And then I guess I'll just close with saying, look, just go offend people. Use your vulgar language, be very loud, speak with conviction, and speak with authority. I do it all the time, and I just don't care anymore. And more people should do that, because then we wouldn't be in the predicament that we are in.
Good on taunting, Dana.
Thank you.
First off, thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity. This is refreshing to have people that, you can disagree, whatever, and it's not that big of a deal.
It's not.
But to me, a lot of people roll their eyes when I say this, but to me, it seems like no one's asking the simple question of what has changed. So if you ask a lot of people, there's a lot that has regressed in health, a lot that has regressed in the familyhood, a family dynamic, a lot that has regressed in politics, whatever aspect of life that people find important. And to me, it seems like no one's asking, okay, if it's changed so much, then what has changed? Dive into it and do the research on it and figure it out, because that's really the only thing that's going to make a difference.
Don't forget to plug yourself. What is it?
Total Balance Training.
There it is.
There you
On
go.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah.
One more time for good measure.
Total Balance Training.
There it is.
Yeah.
Just like Jen, you have a channel. Please share it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I was very much raised in a culture of the no religion, no politics, nothing that's going to make waves, and I came through as the wave maker. And I think it's refreshing. We can all be sitting at the table from completely different places in the world and talking about things, even if there's disagreements. I think that's a sign of progress in and of itself. And we're making a difference just by showing that this can be done to the families that are still not talking about religion, not talking about politics, and not making waves. And I do think, yeah, we got to get loud. Everybody does, about what they passionately believe in and where they're taking themselves in the world.
Yep. See, I always learn something. I'm going to use Corey for example, because I really, sincerely mean it, getting to know you, I would vote for you and what you stand for. But he also said something, and I could write a political speech for him. Is the fact that it's saying, listen, you might perceive that there's corruption there, but it might just be misunderstood. Vote for me and let's work together to make it not corrupt. So you have confidence back in the government, because I believe that government has an extremely good role. That's why I love politics, and I love it just takes, once again, good people to get out there and do something to that. And then I learn something from everybody every time I do it. Like I said, it's just I love the perspective. I love what you said about taunting. That was fantastic. And the things that I'm always hopeful, because then we have people like Kelton come along and be willing to talk about things and think of it this way. It's very tough. It's easy for a little more seasoned vet like me and Corey. We've had discussions with people and had to argue people our whole life, being business owners and CEOs and things like that. And but as young people today, it seems like they don't want to push back or have some things, or they're so worried or that they have to change their mind on something. I think as you get older, you realize that you'll change your mind on a lot of things as time goes on. Some core principles, obviously there's non-negotiables that way, but just even how I see things that way. So it's great. And Jen, you said something very key that way, is like, we've done so well in this podcast because what happens is different ages, different places in life, different political views, different health views, stuff like this. And it's really funny. I keep on saying, come back to it this way. You'd be surprised that, people say we just need to talk. I'm like, yeah, but then you got to sit down and talk real. Do you understand? You got to talk real. And you have to be willing to sit back and go, ooh, maybe I have that view wrong or something that way. And I know it's very tough to change people's views or have a change in your own view, because you have to let something die.
Yeah.
But that's why a guy wears the same outfit to a wedding and a funeral. You saying?
But just watching this will make people go have those conversations at their own tables.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
And that's why I'm going to be the person that before I die, hoping when the old concept of don't talk about religion and politics around the family table, I think it's one of the most important things to talk about. Because
Agreed.
if you think of it this way, religion and politics are two very important areas of life. They help you come up with certain truths and things like that. Politics is your community. We have to, I do get frustrated with this when people say, I'm not getting involved in politics, it's this. I'm like, that means you're not involved with your family or community or people around you, because that's what politics really is. You saying? So it's like, no, you want to be heavily involved just with your stuff that way. And I want my neighbors to I actually, regardless if we agree on certain things, I still want them to have freedom. For example, I know it's going to sound funny. I love nature like crazy. And I'm a country boy. I grew up in Crivets, by Twin Bridge area, and it's like I'm a Wisconsin boy my whole life and everything. And when I bought my first house in town, I hate pesticides. I hate them like crazy. And so my lawn was the only one that didn't look immaculate. I had dandelions everywhere. I had weeds everywhere that way. To me, that was heaven on earth. My neighbors complained.
Same here.
My neighbors complained. And it's like, because that's no different than Dr. Flynn won't wear a mask. We're going to call the government to make him cut his lawn and stuff. That
HOA nightmare.
I say, but no, you think of it this way. And Durham fought it and won, because private property rights, no one can tell you what to do. No, it's an ordinance. No one can tell you what to do. It's just a lot of people say, I don't have the money or the time or the will to fight. Then don't complain that when your neighbor comes along and says, you need to put on a mask, you need to do this, you need to stay in your house. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You saying? So it's kind of funny. It's like, and that's what we talk about. All the things we talk about. There's so much relationships. You find a congruency that you might stand up against an HOA, but it's no different than COVID. It's all the same thing. And one thing we tell that Corey stands for freedom, and that's why we like to do it in district again. Say it one more time for us.
29th.
29th. See, I want people to be heavily involved in politics and stuff like that. So, and vote for good people that are willing to stand up for freedom. So, thank you guys for being here tonight. It's been great. Dana, thank you. Travis, thank you as our co-hosts and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be gone a lot over the next month. I have the opportunity to travel over the world and speak, and believe it or not, it's gonna sound funny. After all the stuff that I say, even piss people off, they still want me to come around and speak more. And so, it's an opportunity. And so we're going to be traveling over. So you're going to see some wonderful shows with these two wonderful people. And we have another co-host coming too and things like that. And so I'll be in and out through the next couple of months so I hope everybody has a great Halloween and Thanksgiving and Hanukkah or whatever it is. Things you want. So I'm cool. I celebrate Christmas. And that's with me. So thank you guys for being on that way. We'll see you guys next week.